Across the south later, creating more hazy spells of sunshine. Otherwise, another hot day in the south, but still a little less warm across the east.
Expect warm spells with the odd rude interruption. Box Boilers sponsors the weather on GB News.
Thank you, Britain, for making GB News Radio such a huge success. Whether you're in the car, on the go, or listening at home, thank you for choosing us as your radio station.
Good morning. This is the latest AI travel news from GBNews.com. The M11 southbound is closed between junctions 7A and 7 in Harlow. The M25 anti-clockwise is closed between junctions 16 and 15 in Uxbridge. The A40 westbound is closed after the A4137. The A428 is closed after the A1. The M42 northbound at Bridge near Birmingham Airport has a lane closed at the bridge for roadworks, causing delays. In Scotland, the M8 eastbound has one lane restricted at junction 19 on the Kingston Bridge, causing queues. And on the trains, cross-country services are disrupted between Montrose and Aberdeen. For more travel news, go to gbnews.com.
Bold.
They are under no illusion.
Ray.
Are you a human trafficker?
Boundless. I've had enough of the nonsense, and I'm not afraid to say it.
Don't get us on the BBC.
Every weeknight, I tear through the headlines.
The smell of gasoline. Should we be worried about it?
From Westminster madness to cultural war chaos.
What I'm going to do now is they are throwing things out the car as we speak.
Get ready, Britain. Here we go. Patrick Christie tonight, weeknights from 9 p.m, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
Join me, Nana Okoye, for an informative, interactive news programme with a difference. It's fun.
No, he didn't say that, Dave.
I'm so surprised.
I think there's an element of truth to that.
Join me from 3 p.m. every weekend, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
Some people enjoy lazy Sunday mornings, but not me.
What's the truth of the matter?
So that's a very live question.
Would you support him if he waters down these plans?
Before the spin sets in, I'll be getting to the truth.
This is personal.
No soft questions, no easy answers.
It's one thing if the state has rules in this country. It's another thing whether the police and others actually police them.
Setting the agenda and holding those in power to account.
You can't really blame her if the system is set up this way. You will not want to miss it, trust me.
The Camilla Tominey Show, Sundays from 9:30, only on GB News.
Westminster's full of talk, but out here, it's the real world.
Am I allowed to talk then?
No, that's it. This is where it matters, real people and real lives. That's what politics is all about.
The fact is Trump made a good start. No.
Straight answers, no spin, and just a couple of pints.
How many fingers have I got up? About 10.
So join me for Lee Anderson's Real World every Friday at 7 p.m, only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Good morning, it's 9:30 on Monday, the 13th of July, live across the UK, Britain's Newsroom with Andrew Pearce and Bethany Elsey.
Police arrested 28-year-old British national who drove almost 300 miles to Anne Widdecombe's Dartmoor home on the morning of her death.
At this point, there is still no information to suggest that this is a terrorism-related incident. There is nothing to suggest that it was politically motivated.
Well, 5 days after the death of Anne Widdecombe, there is still a heavy police presence here in her home village of Hayter Vale, as the suspect continues to be questioned at a police station in Exeter.
Deportation showdown today. The Home Secretary Shabana Mahmood will set out emergency measures to try to deport the freed Rochdale grooming gang leader Shabir Ahmed. He was released having served 16 years of his 22-year sentence.
Well, this is a major moment for Shabana Mahmood and for grooming gang victims. Will they get direction today, learning what will happen to the man who ran that abuse ring?
Imagine good growth in every postcode and hope in every heart.
Incoming wealth tax, Andy Burnham looks set to launch a £38 billion tax raid on the rich to fund his economic plans.
And a threat to the Falklands. Argentina raging at what they call the illegitimate occupation of the Falklands and claim that native islanders are artificial implants. That's, of course, just a few days before England play Argentina in the World Cup.
Wildfire warning. A huge blaze in North Wales has been declared a major incident as the heatwave sparks high-risk zones across Britain.
Sad news, the Jurassic Park and Peaky Blinders actor Sam Neill has died at the age of 78. His family say his death was sudden and unexpected.
And GB News is bringing you very special coverage of the 12th of July festivities across Northern Ireland. You definitely don't want to miss it.
So that foreign minister ramping up the rhetoric on the Malvinas, as they call the Falklands. Of course, it was 1982 when Mrs Thatcher sent the task force to liberate them after the Argentine occupation.
Yeah.
I'm not sure we'd be in a position to do that again.
Well, no.
State of our Navy.
But there's talk of also not holding another referendum after the one that was held in 2013 with our Argentine foreign minister saying that that was unfit for purpose because all of the people who were living in the Falkland Islands, they claim, are artificial implants.
They are Falkland Islanders, and that's the end of it. Anyway, tell us what you think. We always like to hear your views. Post your comments by visiting
gbnews.com/yoursay. But first, here's your 60-second news update with Lewis Mackenzie.
Good morning. The headlines from the GB Newsroom. Home Secretary Shabana Mahmood will set out the legal steps she will take to deport Shabir Ahmed, the freed ringleader of a Rochdale grooming gang. A major incident has been declared in North Wales as firefighters tackle a series of wildfires. There are also warnings that large parts of the UK are, quote, at risk of exceptional fires as the heatwave continues this week. And Jurassic Park star Sam Neill has sadly died at the age of 78. No cause of death has been given, but Neill recently revealed he was cancer-free after being diagnosed with blood cancer in 2022. Well, those are your headlines for now. More from me in half an hour.
Tune in to GB News Radio wherever you are. Online, on DAB digital radio, on TuneIn, on Radio Player, on Nation Player and on your smart speaker. Just say, play GB News.
Lewis, thank you. Hello and welcome. This is Britain's Newsroom, live across the UK on GB News with Andrew Pearce and me, Bethany Elsey.
Well, on Saturday evening, a 28-year-old British man was arrested in South Yorkshire on suspicion of killing the former MP, Anne Widdecombe.
Since then, it's been alleged that the suspected killer drove almost 300 miles to Anne's home on the morning of her death.
The authorities investigating the crime say that while there is no suggestion of a political motive, they are remaining open-minded about what led to the tragedy. GB News Home and Security Editor Mark White joins us now. Mark, morning.
Morning to you, Andrew. I thought it was quite a significant news conference that we got yesterday afternoon from the Assistant Chief Constable of Devon and Cornwall Police, Matt Longman, and indeed the Chief Constable of Devon and Cornwall Police as well. Matt Longman telling reporters that they were not looking for anyone else in connection with the alleged murder of Anne Widdecombe. So the man in custody, clearly their prime suspect. Now, he was taken down from Rotherham in South Yorkshire over the weekend. The custody time for him only begins once he's in the custody suite at Devon and Cornwall Police, so they've probably got a bit of time to go. They can hold him through police authorisation through senior officers for some 36 hours after coming into that custody suite. Then after that, if they want an extension extension of time, they then need to go to a magistrate's court that can hold an individual in custody ultimately for up to 4 days. But, you know, it's perfectly possible that we might get a conclusion to this sooner in terms of a charge decision. And of course, at some point, the police will have to make that decision, charge or release. But the individual is in custody. He was arrested as part of an operation that was assisted by counter-terrorism police in the northeast, along with other local colleagues from South Yorkshire. Now, Devon and Cornwall police were at pains to stress that because counter-terrorism police were involved, it does not mean that this is being treated as a counter-terrorism investigation. They say that as yet they have nothing to suggest that terrorism was a motive. They also stress that they've not found any political motivation at the moment either. However, they're not sharing with us what their potential theory might be, what the motive might be. They tell us not to speculate, but when they don't share that kind of information, it's only human nature that people will be, you know, very keen to know just what exactly happened to Anne Widdecombe last Wednesday lunchtime.
Mark, very high-profile individual, very outspoken on a number of issues. Do we know any more about the individual that they've got in custody?
Very little, and of course, you know, the kind of regulations that we're all bound by. Even if we did have information, we are not able to name an individual until they're charged. And obviously, going into the background of an individual is potentially, as we're often told, prejudicial to a forthcoming case. So we don't know much more about the individual. There is some intriguing information out there, though, reported in some of the newspapers that there was CCTV from a neighbour's house of an individual, not further described in that sense. We don't know yet if that was the man who is in custody, but a man seen outside that address getting into a car very early in the morning on that Wednesday that Anne Widdecombe died, and appeared to have some kind of wooden stick that was sticking out of his shorts. He had shorts on, and it was in the pockets of his shorts. Certainly that's the way it looked on the CCTV, and I'm sure that CCTV, any other eyewitness or neighbours' interviews will be assisting those detectives as they piece together exactly what happened. Of course, we don't know at this stage because we're not privy to what's going on within the interview and custody suite areas of Devon and Cornwall Police. We don't know how cooperative this individual is being with Devon and Cornwall detectives, and also we don't know what kind of information they have. A murder weapon, for instance, have they covered that? Forensics, have they been able to get a match from some of the forensic material that will have been recovered over the last few days from Widdecombe's house here in Hayter Vale?
Yeah, and Mark, and we've seen lots of people bringing flowers to the gates of the house. A lot of members of Reform UK have been to the house too.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, we are, as you will know, this is a very small village in the middle of the Dartmoor National Park. So, you know, you have to go out of your way to come to this area, but obviously people have, because there's quite a number of flowers that are growing in this makeshift sort of memorial shrine to Anne Widdecombe that's just nearby to where we are. And in fact, probably next hour we'll relocate to that location just to give you a shot, Andrew, of the flowers that have been left there in tribute and memory of Anne Widdecombe.
All right, that's Mark White, who's our GB News home and security editor in Hayter outside Anne Widdecombe's home. I was at Geoffrey Archer and Mary Archer's 60th wedding anniversary party at their home in Grantchester yesterday, and everybody was talking about it because John Major was there, Michael Howard, who of course she famously clashed with over the dismissal of a prison director back in 1995. She famously said of Michael Howard there was something about the night of him, and he, like everybody else, was just deeply concerned to think what had happened to her.
Absolutely, it's just horrific news. Hopefully we get some more information and that we can bring to you this morning.
Yeah, I knew it. I'd known her for 29 years.
Really?
Yeah, we're good mates. We're very good mates, and I saw her for the last time on Tuesday, the day before she died. And she was fizzing with ideas, lots of ideas, berating me because I hadn't taken up an issue that she thought I should be taking up. That's why we loved Anne, because she was just Anne.
Working and incredibly passionate all the way up until the end.
Yeah. And then, of course, this terrible news came through. We'll keep you up to date on that as and when anything develops. Now, for the 5th year running, the People's Channel is on the ground in Northern Ireland to mark the anniversary of the Battle of the Boyne.
GB News' Northern Ireland reporter Dougie Beattie joins us from Hillsborough in County Down ahead of the festivities.
Yes, hello and good morning and welcome to Hillsborough in County Down. Royal Hillsborough, no doubt. And this is so important to the history of the United Kingdom because this was the first constitutional monarchy. It was also the Bill of Rights that came in. And we've had a fabulous time over the last 4 years. Hopefully this year we can make it a little bit better. And joining me is one of the co-hosts, of course, and the main anchor of it, Arlene Foster, Baroness Foster. And we're outside Hillsborough Castle. How do you think this year will go?
It'll be brilliant. And, you know, being here in Royal Hillsborough, the royal prefix was granted by the late Majesty the Queen shortly before she died. And so this used to be known just as Hillsborough. It's now Royal Hillsborough. And, of course, it's the home of His Majesty the King when he comes to Northern Ireland, just behind us. And it's been the scene of many political negotiations. I've been in here a lot of times. But, of course, it was also the scene of one of the first political negotiations between Lord Hill and Benjamin Franklin. And we're going to talk a little bit about that later on.
Yes, we pre-recorded that earlier on in the week. You know, while you may have been inside in the nice and warm, I can assure you I was outside here with the rest of the media while politicians discuss stuff inside. But there's a great atmosphere around Hillsborough this morning. I mean, we're down the street, lots of people eating ice cream at this time of the morning, have their deck chairs out. Is it a big family day?
It's a huge family day for my family, for families right across Northern Ireland. It's a public expression really of our identity, our culture, and of course our heritage as well. And it's wonderful to see so many young people getting involved in the lodges and in the bands. I've noticed an uptake actually in the number of young people involved, and it's very good that they're learning about their history.
Yes, I was on the Shankill Road on Saturday night and they were teaching those young men and women, you know, from the ages of 8, 9 years of age about the history and what it means. And we've seen that in schools so many times that we airbrush history out. You can't airbrush history, whether it's wrong or right. History is there, and you have to learn about it. Should our education system be pushing forward in that?
Well, of course it should, but I think in the absence of that, it's very important that the Orange Institution, the bands, forums, and all of the other organisations here in Northern Ireland teach our young people about their history. Because if you don't know your history, then, you know, you're not really understanding your identity, your culture, and I think it's so important. And I saw what happened on the Shankill about the Siege of Derry the other night, and it was really impressive, the work that was going on there.
Yes, a family night out, and of course the Shankill Road was known for lots of other things throughout the years, but of course Northern Ireland gives more to the British military per capita than any other part of the UK, and it is important that that history is handed down and they know exactly who they are. Is there a sense of too much history being taught in schools that is someone else's history? That's really where I'm trying to go here.
Yeah, no, I think it's important that people understand their culture and identity. And already this morning I've had people contacting me and saying, can you say hello to our young people? They're dancing in Killylay, where there's another 12th taking place for the Ulster Scots. And that's Maya and Caden. Hi, Maya. Hi, Caden. And it's so important that people recognise their culture and history. And that's why we're here today. And GB News is covering another 12th of July.
Well, there you go, and we love covering it. We love telling Britain their history, and this should be celebrated right across the UK. It is in parts of England, of course, in Liverpool and down towards Devon, but really it should be taught right across the UK. This is our historical agreements, as I said, the Bill of Rights, and that caused quite the revolution in America and then caused a revolution in France shortly after that. We'll be live throughout the programme today, and I hope you enjoy what you see.
Dougie, thank you very much for that. Of course, I'll speak to you later on in the programme. Thank you very much.
Now still ahead.
A huge wildfire in North Wales has been declared a major incident as the heat wave sparks many more high-risk zones in Britain.
And up next, the Home Secretary is going to set out emergency measures to deport, at least she thinks she is, the freed Rochdale grooming gang ringleader Shabir Ahmed. How's she going to do it, and how will she persuade Pakistan to take it back?
But first, if you're in search of some holiday sun, here's a European forecast.
Can't wait to get in that sea.
Lovely and warm.
Just like the feeling of having great travel insurance.
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GB News Travel Destinations Forecast.
Hello there. The heatwave continues across much of Europe. Central and southern parts of France in particular could see temperatures in the low to mid-40s. Along with the high temperatures, lots of dry, sunny weather to continue across many areas, though the humidity could be enough to spark off some thunderstorms across northern parts of Italy, Austria, Slovenia, potentially parts of Croatia as well. The sunshine continues this week alongside the hot temperatures, widely in the high 30s to low 40s.
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GB News Travel Destinations Forecast.
GB News Breakfast, every day from 6 a.m.
The completion of the challenge, the Princess of Wales was met by her family, including the Prince of Wales and her 3 children.
Lovely. All right, let's talk to former Royal Butler Grant Harold. Grant, honestly, that little video there just seemed to say it all to me, because it was clearly all just off the cuff, not a prepared speech. She just came across as someone who really cares about what she does.
She does, and I mean, she's remarkable because, as you said, it was just suddenly announced last night that she'd done this. And not that I'm a huge expert in this, but it's quite a challenge. I actually know somebody that did it recently. I mean, I think you've got to walk about 23, 24 miles. You're climbing about up to, is it 9,000 feet? You're travelling over 500 miles. It's 3 highest peaks in the UK, Scotland, England, and Wales. I mean, it's a remarkable achievement.
GB News, the People's Channel. This is GB News, Britain's news channel.
In his 23 years of service, Alan was deployed to a number of conflicts, including the Gulf War. He met his wife Tracy Ann when he returned to civilian life, and Alan is proud of his time in the forces.
The actual Gulf War, it was during this Scud missile sort of crisis, if you like, and I found that quite worrying because it was so random. If somebody points a rifle at you and intends to kill you, that's one thing. But these missiles were just fired into nowhere. One of the camps got hit. A lot of US servicemen got killed. And RAF regiment fellas went in to help. And the effects of war are clearly not nice. But if it was done for the right reasons, it had to be done.
GB News, the People's Channel. This is GB News, Britain's news channel.
No, Cameron, so it's the first monarch ever to do this, then, isn't it? What's your take on what we've seen in the data here?
Well, Patrick, for GB News audiences, I spent 5 hours in financial briefings with all of these documents, so you don't have to go through them all, and we've assimilated them with my producer, Tom, this afternoon and evening for you. As you said, Patrick, at the start of your piece there, I think a lot of our audience are probably going to be wondering why £370 million, roughly, of their money is being spent on resurfacing a building, Buckingham Palace, which no monarch is unlikely to ever live in ever again. The money that the king surrenders the profits of from the Crown Estates to the Treasury in exchange for a percentage to fund the official duties, that percentage for almost a decade has been much higher.
GB News, the People's Channel.
Welcome back. It's 10 to 10. This is Britain's Newsroom on GB News. The Home Secretary Shabana Mahmood is expected to announce plans to amend a law to allow the deportation of Shabir Ahmed. He's a convicted grooming gang leader from Rochdale. GB News' national reporter Charlie Peters joins us in the studio. Charlie, this vote's going to happen this afternoon, and how would it help him to be deported?
Well, it would help his victims who don't want him in the country. I mean, Graham Stringer, the Labour MP, former minister, said, "We cannot call ourselves a civilised country while Shabir Ahmed is still walking the streets." This is a man who was jailed in 2012, ringleader of the Rochdale grooming gang, made his victims call him daddy. I'll go no further into the details from that court case at this time. But he is an evil man who committed heinous acts and was jailed for 22 years. But due to the nature of his citizenship, this is a man who came over to Britain from northeastern Pakistan in the 1960s when he was a teenager. He is protected by the 1971 Immigration Act, which bars the removal of so-called Windrush citizens who arrived in that 50 years ago in that period. So a very small number of immigrants. But it has allowed the protection of Shabir Ahmed, and victims of him receive a letter from justice professionals saying that he would not be able to be deported because of that law. Now, there is some warning that changing this law could take a year to get through the House and to get onto the books. By that time, I'm sure many victims will say that is totally unacceptable. And even if the law is changed, Bethany and Andrew, there is still a realistic possibility that Pakistan would resist his arrival. I know of 2 other Rochdale groomers who have been deported back to the country, but Pakistani officials speaking to the media last week said that was under a different administration. They are playing a different game now. Last year, GB News revealed that Pakistan was calling for the return of their flag carrier, Pakistan International Airlines, in exchange for them accepting 2 other abusers, also from Rochdale, who still have not been deported. They then also shifted their move in negotiations to calling for some political dissidents in Britain to be deported. We were told that at the time, from Whitehall sources, last week, Pakistani officials confirmed it for the first time that that is what they want. This is a very different administration in Islamabad. They are playing hard and they are not going to push over. So what can Labour do to force this man out? If they're calling for the deportation of 2 dissidents in Britain, what can we say? The Conservatives and Reform UK have said that Pakistan should no longer have access to visas and 0 foreign aid while this debate goes on, while they're refusing to accept the deportation of grooming gang perpetrators. Now, there is going to be some resistance to that within Whitehall, of course, among civil servants, particularly in the Foreign Office. That's what we've heard previously. But also, I imagine lots of Labour figures, including MPs in the backbench, won't want that to happen as well. So Shabana Mahmood's in a tricky position here. There's a lot of pressure and expectation on getting this man out of the country, but the steps taken that will be required to be taken to get there might be too tough for a Labour figure to do. We shall see.
Fascinating. They should have done it while he was still in prison, of course, but there should have been a bit of forward planning. Now, still ahead, thanks, Charlie. Argentina claiming British Falkland Islanders are an artificially implanted population. How will Andy Burnham respond to that? And, of course, it's just before the World Cup match. This is Britain's Newsroom, Britain's favourite morning show on GB News.
Expect warm spells with the odd rude interruption. Box Boilers sponsors the weather on GB News.
Hello there, good morning. Welcome to your GB News weather update from the Met Office. This week brings more sunshine, remaining very warm, if not locally hot in some places, and still often rather windy across the south. Some spots of low cloud through the early hours of this morning. This will bring some rain across parts of East Anglia, central England, perhaps parts of Lincolnshire as well, eventually clearing through the course of the morning, and you can see plenty of clear skies across the UK for the afternoon. Away from the northeast of Scotland, some low cloud lingering here. Another very warm day on the cards, particularly across the south. We could still reach around 30 degrees Celsius here, but in a brisk easterly breeze, still feeling that little bit cooler along some eastern coasts. Now, later this evening, we could start to see a little bit of a change. Some more cloud pushing up across the south, eventually some showers, maybe even some rumbles of thunder. Otherwise, elsewhere across England, Wales, Northern Ireland, plenty of late evening sunshine to finish off the day. Clear skies, very similar across Scotland, though away from the northeast, where there'll be some low cloud around coastal areas. This eventually through the course of the night will continue to drag its way back westwards across Scotland. And that's a very similar picture elsewhere across England. Some moisture still feeding in from an easterly breeze off the North Sea, and this will progress its way westwards overnight. Any showers across the south soon clearing by the early hours of the morning, and a little fresher for some, but still across the south another warm night, temperatures not dropping past 16 to 17 degrees. Now on Tuesday, it's a very similar picture to what we've had the last few days. There will be some cloud around to start. It'll eventually clear through the morning, and then there'll be wall-to-wall blue skies across many areas. Still some lingering low cloud across the northeast of Scotland, perhaps lingering around some coastal areas, and a build of higher cloud across the south later, creating more hazy spells of sunshine. Otherwise, another hot day in the south, but still a little less warm across the east.
Expect warm spells with the odd rude interruption. Box Boilers sponsors the weather on GB News.
Thank you, Britain, for the thousands of you who are becoming friends of GB News every week.
You're not only watching and listening to our programmes, you're becoming part of them too.
Good morning, this is the latest AI travel news from gbnews.com. The M25 anti-clockwise between junctions 16 and 15 in Uxbridge is closed. The A428 is closed after the A1. The A40 westbound is closed after the A4137. In Scotland, the M8 eastbound at junction 17 near Great Western Road has lane restrictions causing queues. Across Wales, the A55 both directions over Britannia Bridge has a 30 miles per hour speed limit due to high winds until further notice. And on the trains, cross-country services are disrupted between Montrose and Aberdeen, with East Midlands Railway affected by hot weather. For more travel news, go to gbnews.com.
It's a great British giveaway Golden Summer Celebration. Your chance to win 2 fantastic prizes. There's an incredible £60,000 in tax-free cash. Plus, you'll also get your hands on a fine gold bar worth over £5,000. For a chance to win £60,000 in tax-free cash and a real gold bar, text GOLD to 63225. One entry costs £2.50 plus one standard network rate message, or text BONUS to 63225. 5 entries cost £5 plus one standard network rate message. Go to gbnews.com/win. Entry starts at £2.50. Call 0903 686 3232. Calls cost £2.50 plus your network access charge. Or post your name and number to GB22 PO Box 8690 Derby DE1 9TT. UK only. Entrance must be 18 or over. Lines close at 4 p.m. on the 21st of August. This is a network giveaway. Entries will be pulled. Please check the closing time if listening or watching on demand.
At the stroke of midnight, the news doesn't stop, and neither do we.
Day in, day out. Forget stuffy late night TV shows. We're giving you a front row ticket to the centre of the political universe.
Because breaking news doesn't wait for the morning.
And neither do we. Join us for one of the most controversial and volatile times of politics in human history.
A very big story.
Big story over here.
You won't get this anywhere else. The Late Show live at midnight, every night.
Only on GB News.
From the school run to the home run, watch a new show for all of Britain.
He can say whatever he wants.
A straight talking show where all voices are heard.
And, you know, when are we going to stop talking about smashing the gangs and actually do it?
With the stories that matter from every part of our country.
There's a bit of a crash landing there for your Chancellor.
Bold, fearless and standing up for you. That's me, Martin Dawdney, 3 p.m. till 6 p.m, weekdays, here only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Good morning. It's just gone 10 o'clock on Monday, the 13th of July. We're live across the UK. This is Britain's Newsroom with Andrew Pearce and Bethany Elsey.
Police arrest a 28-year-old British national who drove almost 300 miles to Anne Widdecombe's Dartmoor home on the morning of her death.
At this point, there is still no information to suggest that this is a terrorism-related incident. There is nothing to suggest that it was politically motivated.
Well, as this investigation continues apace, dozens of flowers have been left here at this makeshift memorial to a woman who meant not just so much in British politics, but also to the people of this village.
Deportation showdown. Today, the Home Secretary Shabana Mahmood sets out emergency measures to deport the freed Rochdale grooming gang ringleader, Shabir Ahmed.
Imagine good growth in every postcode and hope in every heart.
Andy Burnham, our next Prime Minister, looks set to launch a £38 billion tax raid on the wealthy to fund his economic plans. We'll give you the details.
Falklands threat. Argentina rages at what they call an illegitimate occupation of the Falkland Islands and claim native islanders are artificial implants.
And wildfire warning. A huge blaze in North Wales has been declared a major incident as the heatwave sparks high-risk zones across Britain.
Jurassic Park and Peaky Blinders actor Sam Neill has died at the age of 78. His family say his death was sudden and unexpected.
And GB News is bringing you very special coverage of the 12th of July festivities across Northern Ireland. You won't want to miss them.
Yes, welcome to Royal Hillsborough. Thousands of people are now starting to come into the village in order to enjoy the pomp, ceremony and history of the day. We'll be live throughout the programme.
And coming up a little later in the programme, we're going to tell you how many migrants, illegal migrants, managed to squeeze into one boat on Friday, setting yet another all-time record. It's going to be a big part of Andy Burnham's intro, isn't it? Stopping the boats. As ever, tell us what you think. Send your views and post your comments by visiting
gbnews.com/your say. But first, here's your news with Lewis Mackenzie.
Good morning, 3 minutes past 10. I'm Lewis Mackenzie here in the GB Newsroom. Home Secretary Shabana Mahmood will today set out the legal steps she will take to deport the freed ringleader of a Rochdale grooming gang. Shabir Ahmed was jailed for 22 years in 2012 for multiple counts of child sexual offences, including rape. He was released from prison on licence earlier this month. Calls have mounted across the political spectrum for the deportation of Ahmed, who was stripped of his British citizenship following his conviction, leaving him only with Pakistani nationality. Argentina's foreign minister called Falkland Islanders an artificially implanted population. He also said the 2013 referendum held on the archipelago, in which islanders chose to remain British, was illegitimate and called for negotiations over the Falklands' future. He added the 1982 war and the 2013 vote had failed to resolve the Falklands dispute, saying the sovereignty of the archipelago should not be decided by a population artificially implanted by the occupying power. The row over the islands was reinvigorated by members of the Argentine football team who were filmed singing last week that they would win the World Cup for Las Malvinas. England play Argentina on Wednesday night for a place in the final. More than 2,700 people may have died from heat-related causes in England and Wales during the exceptionally hot weather in May and June. The figures from a team at Imperial College, the Met Office and the London School of Hygiene and Tropical Medicine is based on what's known about the dangers of extreme heat. Most deaths will have occurred in the June heatwave, the warmest June on record in England. A rare red heat alert external was issued for parts of England and Wales at the time, warning even healthy people are at risk to life. A major incident has been declared in North Wales as firefighters tackle a series of wildfires. Residents near Conway Mountain have been evacuated while members of the public were warned to avoid the area. There are also warnings that large parts of the UK are at risk of exceptional fires as the heatwave continues this week. A British woman who was taken to hospital after a wildfire swept through southern parts of Spain has become the 13th person to die in the tragedy. The 93-year-old woman was among 8 people admitted to hospital following the blaze, 4 of them with serious injuries. The Andalusian regional government said the woman, who had pre-existing medical conditions, had been admitted to hospital on Friday morning, with burns covering 20% of her body. Authorities have not yet formally identified any of the dead victims. And finally, Jurassic Park star Sam Neill has sadly passed away at the age of 78. The Northern Ireland-born New Zealand actor was best known for his leading roles in the dinosaur blockbuster films, The Piano and Peaky Blinders. He appeared in more than 50 films over his career. No cause of death has been given, but Neill recently revealed he was cancer-free after being diagnosed with blood cancer in 2022. Well, those are your latest GB News headlines for now. Let's look at the finance.
Taking the ups and downs in our stride. Stilts Home Lifts sponsors the GB News Finance Report.
And here's a quick snapshot of today's markets. The pound will buy you $1.34 and 1.17 euros. The price of gold is at £3,042 per ounce, and the FTSE 100 at 10,501 points.
GB News Finance Report, brought to you by Stilts Home Lifts.
Tune into GB News Radio wherever you are. Online, on DAB digital radio, on TuneIn, on Radio Player, on Nation Player, and on your smart speaker. Just say, play GB News.
Hello and welcome. This is Britain's Newsroom, live across the UK on GB News with Andrew Pearce and Bethany Elsey.
Well, just to remind you, on Saturday evening, a 28-year-old British man was arrested in South Yorkshire on suspicion of killing the former Minister and MP Anne Widdecombe.
Since then, it's been alleged that the suspected killer drove almost 300 miles to Anne's home on the morning of her death.
The authorities investigating the crime say that while there's no suggestion of any political motive, they're being open-minded about what led to the tragedy. GB News Home and Security Editor Mark White joins us from Anne Widdecombe's home village. Mark, they're still questioning this man. They've presumably got many more hours in which they can talk to him.
Potentially, Andrew, yes, he can hold an individual for up to 4 days, providing they go back to a magistrate at regular intervals for an extension. The clock starts ticking in terms of pace that police and evidential act that the police have to follow on the arrest of an individual. It starts ticking once that person is in the custody suite at Devon and Cornwall Police, so he can begin the arrest at 9 o'clock in the evening on Saturday, and then the journey down. That doesn't count really as his time in custody and being questioned. They then have to give him an 8-hour rest as well, so actually the clock probably didn't start ticking until quite a bit into yesterday. So they've got 24 hours, up to 36 hours where senior officers can sanction more time to continue interviewing this individual, and then it's to be magistrates courts after that. We don't know at this stage how cooperative or otherwise is being. We don't know, of course, as the police understandably won't share that, the degree of evidence that they might have, how strong that is. All that will determine whether they feel that they can charge at an earlier point rather than a later point. Now, all morning, Andrew, we and Bethany, we've been here reporting from the sort of police cordon, but I just wanted to move round and show you this makeshift memorial garden. It's under the shadow of a tree in the gardens of a nearby hotel that Anne Widdecombe would visit on occasions, as she was a well-known figure. One of the messages that has been laid with the flowers says, "Rest in peace, Anne. Always listen to your wise and honest words, Keith and Marlene." Another very poignant message, a letter really written to Anne. It says, "You will always live on in the nation's hearts. Thank you for everything you did in British politics. You're an amazing person, always at the centre of the people first. I saw you speak 3 times," it says. Each time you have people giving you a standing ovation. You are such a motivational speaker. That's just some of the messages from the dozens of flowers that have been laid here, and people that have really come from quite far afield just to pay their respects and do something, just to lay some flowers to mark the passing of this woman.
OK, Mark, that's Mark White, our Home Security Editor in Anne Widdecombe's home village. She was a remarkable public speaker, actually. I remember she was one of the first to speak without notes. It was when she was doing the shadow health brief at one of the party conferences when she was front bench. William Hague was the party leader. She brought the house down.
Wow.
Marching up and down the platform at the stage, a woman of considerable girth in those days, and she had that booming voice, and it was a remarkable speech, and it's rather set a trend that other people thought, if she can do it, I can do it. She was a great public speaker. She was a very successful novelist. She wrote lots of books, and she was in John Major's government as prisons minister, and if they'd won that election in '97, which was never going to be, she'd have been in the cabinet for sure. I saw John Major at that event yesterday, and of course he was reflecting on what a great minister and what a great colleague she'd been.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so we will miss her very much. We certainly will, and I certainly will miss her.
OK then. It seems a shame to move on, but I think we should, because there's another story that's caught your eye this morning, Andrew, isn't there?
It's just unbelievable. Do you know how many migrants squeezed into one boat on Friday? It's an all-time record, 128.
Goodness me.
So 200. There were 3 boats crossed altogether, 128 and 1. That's the highest number ever. What if that had sank?
Yeah, it's a lot
How
of
many
lives
people
at risk, isn't it?
were at risk? These people smugglers are taking bigger and bigger risks, and the people on board are so desperate they'll take the risk.
Yeah.
But of course, it was a calm day. But 128. What is Andy Burnham going to do as Prime Minister to sort this out? Because it's a mess. The number now is over, since these crossings started, I think the number is over 200,000 have crossed illegally. It's an incredible figure, isn't it?
And these people who are trying to come across, these migrants who are trying to come across, put their faith in these people smugglers, and they pay a lot of money to get on these boats. This mega boat is actually called, mega dinghy, is carrying, as Andrew said, 128 migrants at one time. The previous record for a single boat was 125 back in September last year. I mean, they're being picked up in the Channel because lives are being put at risk and they're being brought here. But the higher that number goes and the bigger these boats are, the more lives that are being put at risk. And the people smugglers do need to be stopped.
Well, 205,000 migrants have now arrived by small boats since the crisis began in 2018. They're the ones they know about. What about the ones who arrived by small boat that we don't know about? And the Home Office say here, smuggling gangs are taking greater risks than ever with the number of people they are cramming into unseaworthy boats rising year on year. The crossing serves as a stark reminder that criminal gangs have no regard for the safety of those they claim to help, and is also a reminder that the Home Office is clueless as how to stop it.
Yeah.
That's the point. We want a solution. We don't want them wringing their hands in despair and going on about reckless people smugglers. What are they going to do about it?
And the Conservatives tried to come up with a solution.
Well, they had something called Rwanda, and Labour cancelled that on day one. Nigel Farage says if he gets in power, they'll turn the boats back. Now, whether they can do that legally, but that's what he says he'll do. They've got to do something because we can't keep on like this.
No. I mean, my fear is that it will take an extreme tragedy, like that all of the lives on that boat could have been lost because of how unsafe it was. It will take a tragedy before something is done about it. OK, it's time for the Great British Giveaway now, and your chance to win £60,000 in tax-free cash and a real gold bar worth over 5k. It's an incredible prize. Here's all the details you need.
You really could be enjoying gold and £60,000 cash in our Golden Summer celebration, as you could win a totally tax-free £60,000 in cash to spend on anything you like. Someone really has to win it, and it could be you. What would you do with all that cash? You could spend it on treats, save it for a rainy day, or give you the chance to chill out and relax on the perfect getaway. Plus, we're going to give you a £5,000 gold bar that you could keep, trade, or gift to a loved one and secure their financial future. There's one guaranteed winner, and that really could be you, so make sure you don't miss out.
For a chance to win, text GOLD to 63225. One entry costs £2.50 plus one standard network rate message, or text BONUS to 63225. 5 entries cost £5 plus one standard network rate message. Go to gbnews.com/win. Entry start at £2.50. Call 0903 686 3232. Calls cost £2.50 plus your network access charge, or post your name and number to GB22 PO Box 8690 Derby DE1 9TT. UK only. Entrance must be 18 or over. Lines close at 4 p.m. on the 21st of August. This is a network giveaway. Entries will be pooled. Please check the closing time if listening or watching on demand. Good luck.
And excitement is building in Northern Ireland as the 12th of July festivities are due to get underway in just over an hour. We'll bring all of that excitement to you on Britain's Newsroom.
But up next, the Home Secretary, she's going to set out her plans to deport the grooming gang ringleader who's still here. Problem is, Pakistan say they don't want him back. We'll be going through that and more with our panel today, Thomas Day and Sebastian Selleck. This is Britain's News and GBNews. There they are. We'll see them shortly.
Do you trust what you're being told? Good, because neither do I.
Those are just facts.
I'm Alex Armstrong, and on my show, we'll expose the spin.
Well, I want to answer that, because you didn't let me last time, because you always speak over me.
The broken promises.
To deny that is denying the truth.
And the hypocrisy.
We can allow.
Stop.
You think we can allow.
Politics, policy, parliament. Nothing is off limits. No sugarcoating, no fear of offence, just the truth laid bare. Tune in every Saturday and Sunday at 9 p.m. for Alex Armstrong Tonight, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
5 hosts, 5 opinions, 5 fearless debates, 5 unfiltered takes on the day's news.
5 reasons not to be anywhere else on Saturday night.
This is the Saturday 5.
You got me. You got me good there.
Britain's biggest Saturday night TV show.
It's not a bad brand.
Yeah. Uncensored.
Very, very racy tonight on the unpredictable.
What did she say? Can you translate it for us?
And always entertaining.
And how can a country go from being led by William Wallace
Saturday nights from 6 p.m. only on GB News, the People's Channel.
Britain's news channel.
You're going to want to stay tuned, trust me.
Join me, Nana Akwe, for an informative, interactive news programme with a difference. It's fun.
No, he didn't say that, though.
I'm so surprised.
I think there's an element of truth to that.
Join me from 3 p.m. every weekend, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
Hi, I'm Michelle Dewberry, and my show is your opportunity to cut through all the noise and dive in headfirst to some robust debates. Ideas clash.
Situation,
Because you're deliberately avoiding my point. Nothing's held back.
And if you think this is the end of it, wait for more.
And we do not shy away from the difficult stuff. Sometimes I want to shake people and say, if only you understood. So join me on Jubes & Co. weeknights at 6 p.m. only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
At GB News, we love to hear from you, our loyal community. So drop us a line at gbnews.com/your say. There you can talk to each other and also to the presenters live on air. gbnews.com/your say, because GB News is your channel, Britain's news channel.
You want to know what's really going on in the corridors of power? Labour don't know what to do with you half the time, and that makes you quite lethal in the chamber. Get behind the headlines with Chopper's Political Podcast. Join me, Christopher Hope, as I sit down with the great and the good of British politics. We'll see where this ruling takes us. These are the stories shaping our nation. Chopper's Political Podcast, available now on all platforms. Listen in and stay ahead.
Welcome back. It's 10:20. This is Britain's Newsroom with Andrew Pearce and Bethany Elsey.
Well, we've got in the studio with us the former Conservative Party advisor Thomas Day and former Labour advisor Seb Salek. Morning, boys. How are we?
Very well.
We're going to start with the problem Shabana Mahmood is going to have in getting this creature out of this country, because even if their law is passed, there's some suggestion it could take up to a year. I don't see why it should take that long. Seb, they could do it in a couple of days, surely.
Well, it comes down to whether Pakistan will take him back.
Well, that's the big problem.
Blocker, isn't it?
That's the problem.
And look, it's good to see the political will that Shabana Mahmood is willing to change the law and fix the problems on our side. Slightly concerned about what effects that might have on other people who fall into the category that he's in, that moved to this country between, 1971 and 73, but who haven't gone on to commit horrendous crimes. I'm always slightly wary of, if you're a dual citizen, are your rights then watered down as a result of that? But for this man particularly, clearly, there's consensus, isn't there? We want to see him gone. The problem is, what are we going to give Pakistan in return? They're asking for the release of political dissidents. Now, we know that if we do that, they're going to face a horrible time in Pakistan. I don't think we can have that on our conscience nationally. So it leaves us in a very, very tough position.
But Thomas, we were talking in the break just then about the point that he was released from his sentence early. Surely he should have been kept incarcerated while we sorted out this legal loophole before he was released.
That's right. I think even the Home Secretary would now sort of go, well, that was probably a mistake to do so. But I think the important point is it shouldn't take 12 months to get legislation passed. When Parliament has a will, it will most certainly get it done. I remember when we wanted COVID regs passed, they were all done in a matter of days.
Yeah.
That profoundly impacted our life. This is only going to be a small aspect of amending the Immigration Act. So I think, if the Home Secretary's got any bottle, that she'd think of a way to find parliamentary time and to get this changed.
And if Pakistan say no, then we've just got to say no more visas.
Well, I think it's a sign of a bad partnership if a country doesn't respect the returning of their own citizens. It's as simple as that, really. We would be expected to return criminals who are British nationals who've committed crimes abroad, and we would expect the same from our international partners as well.
It's inexplicable they let him out 8 years early. He did 14 years of a 22-year sentence. Why is a disgusting rapist ever allowed out early?
Yeah, I mean, politically, I think it's a huge problem. We all feel hard done by, don't we, that somebody so awful is...
so terrible for his victims.
Yeah, and to be clear, so he's not fully out of prison. He's in a bail hostel at the moment. He's got a tag on. He's not allowed to go back to certain parts of Rochdale. So he's not fully a free man. But still, the idea that he's out of prison, it just feels off, doesn't it?
Yeah, definitely.
And they also should have sorted this problem out about his legal status while he was in prison.
Yeah, that's a fair argument.
A bolt out of the blue to them, surely.
Well, I mean, I suppose you don't quite know when someone's going to be released, do you? But no, it does seem like a foreseeable issue that could have been solved earlier. The problem is, how do you have those discussions when you don't have the certainty on when exactly he's going to be free?
Yeah, the other thing is, of course, we give Pakistan £138 million in aid every year. That would stop immediately if I was Home Secretary, if they don't play ball.
Well, I think, and that goes back to my point there about having a partnership. We want to work with countries around the world, and this is one of those expectations. But I think what this case is in particular about is it's a lightning rod for a number of foreign nationals who are detained here in the UK, who are incarcerated. And Shabana Mahmood's spoken about, wanting to deport those to free up prison spaces, because we know prisons are completely full at the moment. And so I think that it's not necessarily just about this case, it's about getting the law changed so that we can send more foreign criminals back to free up spaces in prisons.
Right. Shall we talk about Andy Burnham's plans for a £38 billion tax rate, Seb?
Yeah, so I've been reading the story quite carefully, and full disclosure, I used to write this kind of story back in my PR days, and I think if I'd written this one, I'd have been sacked because of the way that it's been calculated. So they've gone back and looked at every commitment he's ever made, and remember, this is a guy who's been in politics for decades, and they've basically said, if he stays the line on all of these, this is what it's going to add up to. Now, clearly he's going to change his mind on positions he's held for, 10, 15, 20 years. So I would say don't even read past the first line of this story. The figure they've come out with is complete rubbish.
38 billion.
38 billion.
It's a lot of money.
It's a lot of money, but it's also a complete fabrication, I'm afraid.
I don't know. The Financial Times was also saying that it's going to be closer to that number than the lower end of what any prediction is. And I think it won't come as any surprise to any viewer that a Labour Prime Minister is going to raise your taxes. I don't think that's a surprise. But the fact is that how is he going to make public services more efficient? How is he going to spend that money? And he's still not taking questions from the media. Is still sort of shying away from that scrutiny, and he's about to take office in a handful of days. And Parliament's about to immediately go on recess. So where is the scrutiny?
I think he should. I don't understand this Labour timetable. He could have been Prime Minister weeks ago.
No, I think it's fair to have a certain amount of time. Look, it's weird because we all know it was how it was going to pan out, didn't it? When the big beasts like Streeting and the others came out, we knew it was going to happen. But I think you still need a fair process where you allow people the opportunity to put their names forward. Now, look, this is good by Labour terms. We take months with our leadership contest, so I'm really pleased it's actually happened so quickly, to be honest. But look, we're a few days away. We get a Prime Minister. You make a good point. We crucially find out what he's going to do. That's the thing. You know, this can't be a Doctor Who regeneration. We've got to see a full change of strategy here, because that's why we've changed leaders.
But if there is a full change of strategy, shouldn't there then be a general election? Because surely he doesn't have a mandate for it.
And yeah, a great point. But this is where things have gone so awry, and that the Tories are coming out. And I was really worried about that, changing leaders, and that's why I was so resistant to it. The Tories have now come out and said, you know, we're not going to be hypocritical on this, which I think is the right thing to do. And Reform now is mired in all its issues, and they were going to be the loud voice on this because they need a general election soon. But all of this situation around Christopher Harborne has come at a very, very fortuitous time for Labour, so I think he can probably cling on for a bit.
So you don't see any view that he goes early, Andy Burnham?
I thought he would initially. But the more the situation plays out with the other parties, the more I think he'll cling on for a bit, maybe give it a year and then go to the country.
Also, Labour are deeply unpopular. I mean, we don't know what sort of bounce he's going to get, but Labour is still way behind Reform in the polls. As
any party would be in this position. You've got to think about the scale of their challenge and the lack of patience from people, which is understandable, because it's really, you know, the clock started in 2008, and the longer it goes, the more people hurt. So he's not going to have an easier ride than Starmer.
When Gordon Brown took over from Blair, there was a bounce, but it didn't last long.
This one won't either, I don't think. And you know, we have short memories in politics, but it's happened for every leader we've had under the Tories as well. It's a really difficult job to step into now.
Yeah, and the Tories can hardly say, come on, we want a general election, because they change leader 3 times in a year.
Well, I think that's right, and I think the Westminster system is, you know, MPs command the confidence in a Prime Minister to run a government. The question for those MPs, though, is how much can we deviate from the manifesto we were all elected on? Are we going to put our hands up and say, well, actually, the circumstances are so extreme that we need to move to a different course? But Andy Burnham himself has said, I'm not going to really move too far. He's committed to Rachel Reeves's fiscal rules.
Does he know what they are now?
Well, he may do.
Struggled it when he was asked about them, didn't he, in that interview?
He certainly did. But he's committed to basically a lot of the agenda to try and seem continuity and to resist those calls for a general election. So my question is, where is he positioning himself as a narrative? What's the story he's going to tell where I'm committing to doing everything pretty much, I'm committed to the defence plan, committed to fiscal rules. How am I going to stay still but also be radical? And I don't think he's yet set out his stall, so I want to hear what he has to say. But so far, I'm still not convinced, but that probably wouldn't surprise you.
And I think staying still might be a problem for the public, because ultimately they weren't happy with Sir Keir Starmer's leadership or his plans, so there has to be some change.
Yeah, I mean, it's tricky, because the idea is you get elected for a 4 or 5 year term, don't you? And that's at least what you need to fix the problems that we're in at the moment. So, yes, you need the quick wins, but also this is a longer term project. And so I think he needs to manage both of those things. He needs to show some momentum early on, and crucially, I think Starmer got it wrong with winter fuel, didn't he? He sent the wrong message to the electorate, and Burnham's very aware of that. So hopefully he can telegraph those earlier wins a little bit better, which buys him the time he needs, the political will he needs, the grace he needs to be able to create the change that...
Because, I mean, there wasn't even a plan for the first 100 days when Starmer got in. That was quite clear. So Sue Gray, who was the Chief of Staff, she got the heave-ho. Morgan McSweeney took over. It was pretty obvious there was no plan at all.
Well, I mean, really good raft of legislation, though. Like, the plan for 4 or 5 years was really strong, but I think that first 100-day plan was lacking. And the problem is, it sets the tone, doesn't it? Once the public gets a whiff of what you're about and they don't like it, everything gets viewed through that prism. I think that was a real challenge for Starmer.
Yeah, and of course, he was rocked at the beginning, if you remember, £32,000 worth of designer clothes and posh specs from Wahid Ali, the Prime Minister, which was extraordinary.
I think...
Why couldn't he buy his own clothes?
Well, why couldn't he? I mean, we all have to. But what I think is really where the public sit is, in the first budget, Rachel Reeves said, I'll never do a budget like that again, a massive tax-raising budget. The second time, she broke that promise and also increased taxes again. And then in the autumn, Team Burnham will go, we're going to need a short, sharp budget that's going to reset finances that we can invest in public services. By my count, taxes have gone up by nearly 120 billion in just 2 years, or 100 billion.
And they were already at a record high.
And they're already at a record high. I might be wrong on the 100 billion point, but they've gone up significantly, some of the largest tax-raising budgets in British history, and we're potentially expecting another. There is a point where the public go, where are you putting it? Like, where is all this money going?
And what are they doing with it?
Well, yes, and it's just going to be a case of robbing Peter to pay Paul. And, we heard people like Pat McFadden say, it's just about taking money from someone else to pay benefits for someone else. And that kind of redistribution of wealth needs to be seriously thought about if they're going to do this short, sharp budget yet again.
Who do your Labour sources say is going to be the Chancellor?
Oh, God, I think we will be surprised. I feel like it won't be someone from the soft left. It's just an inkling I have, but I feel like it might be a streeting type.
Do you?
Yeah, I just get that sense.
I think it's Pat McFadden or Yvette Cooper.
Yeah, it's all of the same political persuasion. I think it could be someone from that side.
I'm sticking to my guns and saying I think it's going to be Ed.
Oh,
Ed.
no.
Yeah, I just don't see it.
Doom and gloom.
I'm willing to be wrong. I hope I'm wrong.
I hope you're wrong.
My feeling's saying Ed.
OK, then, thank you both very much for joining us. We'll speak to you again later on in the programme. For now, though, let's get your 60-second news update with Luz Mackenzie.
Good morning. Here are your half-past headlines from the GB Newsroom. Home Secretary Shabana Mahmood will set out the legal steps she will take today to deport Shabir Ahmed, the freed ringleader of a Rochdale grooming gang. A major incident has been declared in North Wales as firefighters tackle a series of wildfires. There are also warnings that large parts of the UK are at risk of exceptional fires as the heatwave continues this week. And Jurassic Park star Sam Neill has died at the age of 78. No cause of death has been given, but Neill recently revealed he was cancer-free after being diagnosed with blood cancer in 2022. Those are your headlines for now. More from me in half an hour.
Take the GB News family with you on any device. As long as you have an internet connection, tune into GB News anywhere on the planet or beyond.
Lewis, thank you. Still to come on Britain's Newsroom, we'll be in Northern Ireland where the 12th of July festivities will soon be underway with a huge parade.
But up next, Argentina is making rattling noises about the British Falkland Islanders, who they say are an artificially implanted population. A very angry Falklands War veteran joins us next. This is Britain's Newsroom on GB News.
Hello there, good morning. Welcome to your GB News weather update from the Met Office. This week brings more sunshine, remaining very warm, if not locally hot in some places, and still often rather windy across the south. Some spots of low cloud through the early hours of this morning. This will bring some rain across parts of East Anglia, central England, perhaps parts of Lincolnshire as well, eventually clearing through the course of the morning, and you can see plenty of clear skies across the UK for the afternoon. Away from the northeast of Scotland, some low cloud lingering here. Another very warm day on the cards, particularly across the south. We could still reach around 30 degrees Celsius here, but in a brisk easterly breeze, still feeling that little bit cooler along some eastern coasts. Now, later this evening, we could start to see a little bit of a change. Some more cloud pushing up across the south, eventually some showers, maybe even some rumbles of thunder. Otherwise, elsewhere across England, Wales, Northern Ireland, plenty of late evening sunshine to finish off the day. Clear skies, very similar across Scotland, though away from the northeast, where there'll be some low cloud around coastal areas. This eventually through the course of the night will continue to drag its way back westwards across Scotland. And that's a very similar picture elsewhere across England. Some moisture still feeding in from an easterly breeze off the North Sea, and this will progress its way westwards overnight. Any showers across the south soon clearing by the early hours of the morning, and a little fresher for some, but still across the south another warm night, temperatures not dropping past 16 to 17 degrees. Now on Tuesday, it's a very similar picture to what we've had the last few days. There will be some cloud around to start. It'll eventually clear through the morning, and then there'll be wall-to-wall blue skies across many areas. Still some lingering low cloud across the northeast of Scotland, perhaps lingering around some coastal areas, and a build of higher cloud across the south later, creating more hazy spells of sunshine. Otherwise, another hot day in the south, but still a little less warm across the east.
Thank you, Britain, for making GB News Radio such a huge success. Whether you're in the car, on the go, or listening at home, thank you for choosing us as your radio station.
Good morning, this is the latest AI travel news from GBNews.com. The M25 anti-clockwise between junction 16 and 15 in Uxbridge is closed. The A40 westbound is closed after the A4137. The A428 is closed after the A1. North of the border, the A720 westbound has 2 lanes restricted between the A7 Sheriff Hall roundabout and the A68 Miller Hill junction. Across Wales, the A35, both directions on Britannia Bridge, has a 30 mph speed limit due to high winds until further notice. And on the trains, there is disruption on Avanti West Coast services between Watford Junction and London Euston. For more travel news, go to gbnews.com.
It's 36 minutes past 10. This is Britain's Newsroom. As England gear up for their semi-final against Argentina, we had a timely reminder today that however fiery the rivalry is on the pitch, it can reach unprecedented levels off it.
So in a new statement, Argentina's foreign minister called the Falkland Islanders an artificially implanted population. This was part of a lengthy essay that demanded Britain enter talks to hand over the territory. No chance.
Well, the Foreign Minister argued that the 2013 referendum, in which islanders chose overwhelmingly to remain British, was illegitimate.
Well, let's talk to Simon Weston, who is well known to GB News viewers and this was a veteran of the Falklands War. Simon, good morning to you. How are you?
I'm very well, thank you. Good morning. Yeah, it's amazing, isn't it? Any time that somebody smells a weakness in the British government or in our ability to be prepared to go to conflict to defend the islands, we get these stupid statements. The fact that over half of Argentina are immigrants from Europe, and they killed a lot of the native population, which is fact. And then they claim that the islanders are illegitimate. It's quite ironic, really, you know, that they should say things like that, but they never occupied the islands. And I'm not saying you have to be intelligent to be a politician, but it does help. Yeah. And clearly this guy has never read anything about history. And first of all, before you start making stupid statements, read the history. But he's a fellow who joined the Gary Lineker school. You know, I never knew a school that taught stupid, but they all went to it. You know, the fact is, the statement is just foolish, but he does sniff blood in the water because of the constant knowledge that we have now that we aren't prepared, we don't have the resources, we haven't invested in our armed forces correctly. And politicians always seek a peace dividend when we end one conflict, but something can blow up very quickly. They've just rearmed with about 20 or 30 fighter aircraft from Europe. Maybe not as up to date as ours, but, you know, it's about numbers then, and they could possibly defeat what we have there. They're reinvesting in their navy, and as I've heard, they're rebuilding their army. So, you know, they may have a possibility to do something in maybe 5 or 10 years' time. But this type of saber rattling does unsettle the islanders, and that's unfair.
Yeah, of course, it's just ahead of the football match, Simon, of course. It's no coincidence, the timing. And you're right, he hasn't done his history. I mean, the first British garrison was on the Falkland Islands in 1765. We have got a long and glorious connection with the Falkland Islands. Simon, if there were, God forbid, if they were to be invaded by Argentina, I don't think we would have the capability of dispatching the same task force that Mrs. Thatcher sent back in 1982, which you were a very brave part of.
That goes without saying. We don't have the surface fleet to be able to mount that type of defence. We do have more people there this time, But to mobilise that many people again, we would have to keep control of the airports. We'd have to be able to utilise the fisheries protection vessel that's down there. If it's down there sort of 365 days of the year, we don't know. But the Argentinians will know. They'll know exactly what we have down there. But I don't think Mr. Malay is one much for violence. He seems to be one for more diplomacy, but he does use some strong words, even though he didn't make this insulting statement. You know, the words that they make can cause deep hurt and problems for a lot of others. And this is where people should watch what they say and the way that they say it. I know we're going into a football match, and let's be honest, to football fans, it's hugely important. To the rest of the world, it's totally irrelevant. It's just a sporting fixture. But, you know, the people and politicians do seek to use these moments to make themselves more popular, make themselves more electable. And, you know, around these types of things are the only times you really see politicians getting totally involved.
I wonder, Simon, when Donald Trump will say something, because we know he's a fan of the Argentine president.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think Mr. Trump will say anything. I don't think Mr. Trump will get involved in this. He'll look at it as a spat. But it's an offensive spat to the islanders. You know, those islanders largely, it's around 75% of the DNA down there of the people are from the original people who went there over 200 years ago. The Argentinians never occupied the islands. They weren't even a nation when we took control of the islands. The only people there before us were the French. The rest of it is they were called the nation of states. They didn't have a flag, they didn't have a government, they had no president, they had no parliament, they had nothing. So how can they say that they were in control of it when largely the Italian and the Spanish immigrants and Portuguese immigrants who went down there then ended up killing a load of the native Indians of Argentina in the first place? They're more illegitimate than the islanders because they took it from no one. They stole nothing. They killed no one for it. The only people who've ever caused the loss of life there have been the Argentinians themselves. So, you know, if they're going to talk about illegitimacy and they're going to talk about decency, let's look at how this all began. And they were the ones who started all the problems, not us. And for once, we can, for all those people who go, imperialism and all the rest, and all those naysayers of Britishness, we did not take it off anybody. We did not kill anybody. We did not imprison anybody. We did nothing. We just moved on to a bit of land that we then were able to put tenant farmers, who then are subsistence farmers and tenant farmers, who made a massive success of those islands. And maybe Argentina wants it, because I can't understand why they would want it other than this. The mineral wealth underneath the islands, even though it's very, very deep and expensive to extract, is quite substantial. So maybe that's what they want. But other than that, I can't understand, you know, the fishery rights, perhaps. But then they would overfish it, and it's only the fisheries down there that stops people from overfishing the young squid and the young fish, because that's the nature of people. They will overfish until there's nothing left, and then they'll abandon it again.
Well, Argentina's foreign minister and the president have made it very clear what they want, but as did the islanders. In 2013, that referendum, 99.8% of them, 99.8% voted in favour of remaining British. Why is that not listened to?
Well, you know, the point two were actually Argentinian. And a friend of mine, Chris Duggan, sadly no longer with us, he asked them, when he was down, he said, why did you vote Argentina? Oh, well, we're Argentinian. He said, well, why are you here? And they said, oh, well, it's safer, there's less corruption with the police, schooling's better, hospitalization's better, housing's better. He said, well, why do you want the Argentinians involved? And they couldn't answer him. They couldn't answer him. But to be honest with you, what Mr. Malay and their foreign minister think is totally irrelevant. Because I'm sick and tired of people telling us what they think. Tell us what you know, and let the people make their mind up. The people in the Falklands, they knew what they wanted. They knew what people knew. and they didn't worry about what people came along with their theories and their thought processes. Maybe things would be different right now if people had stopped offering their opinion and start giving us facts. The British public and the Falkland Islands public are very intelligent people. They're intelligent enough. If you give them the facts, they won't have to make it up themselves.
All right, Simon, always good to talk to you. That's Simon Weston, who, of course, is a veteran of that Falklands War back in 1982 when 256 British soldiers were killed in the liberation of those islands. Now, up next, for the 5th year running, the People's Channel is going to be on the ground in Northern Ireland for the 12th of July festivities.
Oh, it's getting exciting. Crowds are gathering. We'll bring you all of the details and the excitement up next on the programme. But first, here's your European forecast.
I forecast a perfect holiday in the sun.
Weather looking good then?
For sure, and no worries about our travel insurance.
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GB News Travel Destinations forecast.
Hello there. The heatwave continues across much of Europe. Central and southern parts of France in particular could see temperatures in the low to mid-40s. Along with the high temperatures, lots of dry, sunny weather to continue across many areas, though the humidity could be enough to spark off some thunderstorms across northern parts of Italy, Austria, Slovenia, potentially parts of Croatia as well. The sunshine continues this week alongside the hot temperatures, widely in the high 30s to low 40s.
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GB News Travel Destinations forecast.
GB News Breakfast, every day from 6 a.m.
Started event at Madison Square Garden last night. We believe for about 100 guests. Could that have been a rehearsal dinner?
1,000 guests, even.
Well, no, that's today. 1,000 guests today.
Oh, is it?
Yes, for a much larger event. So could last night have been the rehearsal dinner? Could today be the wedding? That's what everyone's speculating. New York is said to be buzzing. This is America's royal wedding. Let's talk to showbiz journalist Ed Gleave, who joins us now. Morning to you, Ed. What's it like over there stateside? Is it being dubbed this royal wedding?
Yeah, I think for America, that's exactly what it is. And I think added to it is the fact that no one really knows for sure what's happening. I think the sort of speculation is kind of adding to the excitement for fans.
GB News, the People's Channel. GB News Breakfast, every day from 6 a.m.
They don't like Trump, Trump doesn't like them, and they're sort of outdoing him on the 4th of July.
I don't know whether that would have come into their thinking, but I mean, it certainly does, or the evidence is there to suggest so. She has been a vocal Trump critic, and a lot of the people that attended on the guest list aren't exactly, you know, the biggest Trump fans. I'll read out a few names for you now. We've got Bradley Cooper, Greg James, Zoe Kravitz, Ed Sheeran, Ellie Goulding, Hugh Grant, Graham Norton, Ethan Hawke, Jason Sudeikis, Jimmy Fallon, who we know isn't a very big Trump fan, Jessica Chastain, Dakota Johnson, Camila Cabello. These names may not mean a lot to some people, but trust me, they are, at the moment, very popular.
GB News, the People's Channel. GB News Breakfast, every day from 6 a.m.
The Duchess of Sussex, Prince Archie and Princess Lilibet are not going to come to London with Prince Harry tomorrow, despite earlier suggestions that they would join him.
A change of plans apparently causing frustration, with sources claiming senior royals are tired of what they describe as the will they, won't they approach.
Yeah, I think we all are, aren't we? It's still unclear, apparently, whether Meghan and the children will join Harry for the rest of his visit, which is a bit later on in the week. But they're certainly not coming, as so many reporters predicted.
With all the security issues, I mean, the thing is, it's not saying that he doesn't get the security. It's on a case-by-case basis. So it's completely possible that he would get the royal protection that he wants while he's here. It's just not an automatic guarantee, and that's what the fight's about.
GB News, the People's Channel.
Welcome back. It's 10 to 11. This is Britain's Newsroom on GB News.
For the 5th year running, the People's Channel is on the ground in Northern Ireland to mark the anniversary of the Battle of the Boyne.
Well, GB News' Northern Ireland reporter Dougie Beattie joins us from Hillsborough in County Down ahead of the festivities. Dougie, what's the atmosphere like? Oh, you've got someone with you.
I've got Charlie Lawson with me, and there's
folks.
Thousands and thousands of people now coming into Hillsborough. In fact, Charlie, should we go and see
Yeah,
some?
we're just going to say hello to these two. Lauren over here, darling. Follow her. Well. Morning, girls.
Hey,
How are you?
Morning.
Royal Hillsborough.
Royal Hillsborough, indeed.
And you're here for the 12th parade. Enjoying it so far, waiting for the bands?
Just waiting for the bands to come through, standing in the sunshine. Generations here, grandmother, grand. So,
Do you know anybody in any of the bands?
yes, it's Daddy.
Oh, excellent. Well, that's great. I hope you guys have a cracking day.
Thank you, you too.
All the best.
Thank you, go on, Lauren. We'll go down a little bit more. Generations here to see their people marching in this parade. Let's go down.
Lauren, how are you?
Here we go.
See, you've got your fan with you and you've got your big hat on. So are you enjoying yourself so far? You getting the sunshine there, darling?
We are. It's lovely in Royal Hillsborough here.
I know, Royal Hillsborough.
Royal Hillsborough, yes.
And look, do you have any connections with anyone in any of the bands today? You're just here to enjoy yourself?
A few family members in the bands, so we're just here to watch them as a family.
Excellent. Well, that's good. And I've noticed, Dougie was saying before, there's an awful lot of young people here, which is lovely to see.
Yes,
do you know what I mean? A lot of
family oriented.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And you know, lots of children. And we were talking before, Arlene and I. There's a huge growth in young people joining bands.
There is in the Orange Order.
In the Orange Order and stuff, you know, which is great.
Talented musicians, obviously, in the bands and all.
Anyway,
so,
listen,
yes.
have a brilliant day, okay? Behave yourself.
Well, there you go. I mean, we're going to go on a little bit more, because, I mean, Hillsborough. I mean, there's cucumber and grape sandwiches in Hillsborough. Oh, yes, it's very
bacon
posh.
sandwich up the hill, and I have to tell you, it was the best I've had yet.
A brioche pop, no doubt. A brioche pop. So let's see if we can find anybody else here. Let's see if we can find anybody else that'll talk to us. Hello, how are you?
You're just on camera there. So no, don't be running away.
Oh, shy, very shy. Excuse me, sir. How are you? You're live on TV, so please do not swear. How is? Why are you here today?
Just to watch the bands and have a good day.
And do you have any people in those bands?
No.
Connections?
No connections. Just loving life.
Great. Just enjoy yourself.
Enjoy yourselves.
All right.
Right, see you later. Take care.
All right, there you go. Look at that. We're thousands of people.
Talk to these young ladies here. No, we'd like to just. No. Turn around.
Turn around. We have to get in and get the.
Oh, here, no, get me out of
No, listen, come here. All right. Yes, give us your hand. No, because. Give us your paw.
Maya's coming too.
It is. We were saying earlier on, it's lovely to see so many young folk here.
Yeah.
It's encouraging, and here's another one here. Such young people here, really good in Royal Hillsborough.
Oh yes, Royal Hillsborough.
And do you have any connections with anyone coming along in the bands today?
I used to be in a band, so I was in
really?
a band for 10 years.
Good Lord! What age did you start?
I was 10, and I was drum major. So
were you really?
Yes, I was. Yes, won plenty
So can
of
you
awards.
swing the pole?
A wee bit, like not maybe now. Like
I can swing the pole. I can indeed. I did it.
Not now.
Right. Listen, have a fabulous day, and is all your all family.
Yes, this is my mummy and my granny and my cousin, my boyfriend. So we're all here, and my other auntie.
Right,
so
your
we're all
boyfriend
here.
looks terribly interesting. Right, listen, have a cracking day. All right, God bless you. See you soon.
Well, there you go. That just about wraps it up on this hit. Charlie, we will be in amongst the crowds.
Yes, we're with the whole of Royal Hillsborough to cover, so we'll be dandering about, and we'll see you in a wee bit.
Yes, we'll see you very shortly. Andrew, please keep coming back to us, because there is so much here to see in Royal Hillsborough.
Yeah, with you, Dougie, don't you worry, we'll be back. And good to see Charlie Lawson too. Very good to see you both. What a nice atmosphere.
Definitely. We need to get a poll for that girl. I want to see her in action. But of course, we'll bring the parade for you later on in the programme as well. So we'll see the bands.
Yeah, exactly. Now, still ahead, you're going to find out why the Home Office may relax immigration reforms under Andy Burnham's premiership. Oh, I thought they were going to try and crack down on immigration.
Goodness me. Well, we don't actually know what Andy Burnham wants to do yet, because we haven't actually heard any of his policy plans yet. But hopefully that will come in the coming days.
And the House of Parliament is due to get up from recess on Thursday right through to the middle of September. And he'll be Prime Minister on Monday. This is Britain's Newsroom, Britain's favourite morning show on GB News.
Today, clouds overhead, total zen within. Boxed Solar sponsors the weather on GB News.
Hello there, good morning. Welcome to your GB News weather update from the Met Office. This week brings more sunshine, remaining very warm, if not locally hot in some places, and still often rather windy across the south. Some spots of low cloud through the early hours of this morning. This will bring some rain across parts of East Anglia, central England, perhaps parts of Lincolnshire as well, eventually clearing through the course of the morning, and you can see plenty of clear skies across the UK for the afternoon. Away from the northeast of Scotland, some low cloud lingering here. Another very warm day on the cards, particularly across the south. We could still reach around 30 degrees Celsius here, but in a brisk easterly breeze, still feeling that little bit cooler along some eastern coasts. Now, later this evening, we could start to see a little bit of a change. Some more cloud pushing up across the south, eventually some showers, maybe even some rumbles of thunder. Otherwise, elsewhere across England, Wales, Northern Ireland, plenty of late evening sunshine to finish off the day. Clear skies, very similar across Scotland, though away from the northeast, where there'll be some low cloud around coastal areas. This eventually through the course of the night will continue to drag its way back westwards across Scotland. And that's a very similar picture elsewhere across England. Some moisture still feeding in from an easterly breeze off the North Sea, and this will progress its way westwards overnight. Any showers across the south soon clearing by the early hours of the morning, and a little fresher for some, but still across the south another warm night, temperatures not dropping past 16 to 17 degrees. Now on Tuesday, it's a very similar picture to what we've had the last few days. There will be some cloud around to start. It'll eventually clear through the morning, and then there'll be wall-to-wall blue skies across many areas. Still some lingering low cloud across the northeast of Scotland, perhaps lingering around some coastal areas, and a build of higher cloud across the south later, creating more hazy spells of sunshine. Otherwise, another hot day in the south, but still a little less warm across the east.
Today, clouds overhead, total zen within. Boxed Solar sponsors the weather on GB News.
We're celebrating a golden summer with a terrific two-part Great British giveaway. First, you could win a sensational £60,000 in tax-free cash. And that's not all, as you'll also win our most precious prize to date, a fine gold bar worth over £5,000. For a chance to win, text GOLD to 63225. One entry costs £2.50 plus one standard network rate message. Or text BONUS to 63225. 5 entries cost £5 plus one standard network rate message. Go to gbnews.com/win. Entry start at £2.50. Call 0903 686 3232. Calls cost £2.50 plus your network access charge. Or post your name and number to GB22 PO Box 8690 Derby DE1 9TT. UK only. Entrance must be 18 or over. Lines close at 4 p.m. on the 21st of August. This is a network giveaway. Entries will be pooled. Please check the closing time if listening or watching on demand. Good luck.
Some people enjoy lazy Sunday mornings, but not me.
What's the truth of the matter?
So that's a very live question.
Would you support him if he waters down these plans?
Before the spin sets in, I'll be getting to the truth.
This is personal.
No soft questions, no easy answers.
It's one thing if the state has rules in this country. It's another thing whether the police and others actually police them.
Setting the agenda and holding those in power to account.
You can't really blame her if the system is set up this way. You will not want to miss it, trust me.
The Camilla Tominey Show, Sundays from 9:30, only on GB News.
Bold.
They are under no illusion.
Ray.
Are you a human trafficker?
Boundless. I've had enough of the nonsense, and I'm not afraid to say it.
Don't get us on the BBC.
Every weeknight, I tear through the headlines.
The smell of gasoline.
Should we be worried about it?
From Westminster madness to cultural war chaos.
What we're going to do now is they are throwing things out the car as we speak.
Get ready, Britain. Here we go. Patrick Christie tonight, weeknights from 9 p.m, only on GB News, Britain's news channel. As soon as it hits 11 and the headlines come in,
the Late Edition brings you the breaking news from all the front pages.
Because the news is going to happen.
So get a head start today.
Patrick Christie's tonight, Late Edition.
Alex Armstrong tonight, Late Edition. From 11 o'clock every night.
Only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
I've been in Westminster for a long time.
But I know that though power may be here, its effect on people's lives is across the whole of the country. We may be where rules are made, but it's where they're implemented that matters. Join me, Jacob Rees-Mogg, for forthright and frank discussion on where Britain has come from, where it's going, and where it will end up. That's State of the Nation, Monday to Thursday, 8 to 9 o'clock. Vox Populi, Vox Dei.
Good morning, it's 11 o'clock on Monday, the 13th of July, live across the United Kingdom, Britain's Newsroom with Andrew Pearce and Bethany Elsey.
Police arrested 28-year-old British national who drove almost 300 miles to Anne Widdecombe's Dartmoor home on the morning of her death.
At this point, there is still no information to suggest that this is a terrorism-related incident. There is nothing to suggest that it was politically motivated.
Deportation showdown today. The Home Secretary Shabana Mahmood will set out emergency measures to try to deport the freed Rochdale grooming gang ringleader Shabir Ahmed.
Imagine good growth in every postcode and hope in every heart.
Andy Burnham looks set to launch a £38 billion tax raid on the wealthy to fund his economic plans.
Well, Andy Burnham has big plans, but there's not a lot of money around. I'll tell you which taxes he might be thinking about putting up.
Jurassic Park and Peaky Blinders actor Sam Neill has died at the age of 78. His family say his death was sudden and unexpected.
And GB News is bringing you very special coverage of the 12th of July festivities across Northern Ireland. You definitely don't want to miss it.
Yes, we're here in Royal Hillsborough in County Down, where one of the many, many parades will be taking place. We'll be live throughout the programme.
Well, I'll be talking to Catherine in just a moment about Andy Burnham's supposed plans to raise taxes again.
Yeah. If you remember, when the Tories lost that last election, we were the most taxed we'd ever been in our history. Thank you very much, Conservatives. Now, they've had 2 tax-raising budgets since then, which have made the tax burden is even greater. And remember, Labour said they wouldn't raise income tax and they wouldn't raise national insurance. They wouldn't raise tax on working people. They did. They raised national insurance for employers who are working people.
And now they're going to do it again?
Yeah.
Potentially. We'll get all the details from Catherine, but let us know what you think about these reported plans. £38 billion tax raid, apparently. Get in touch by visiting
gbnews.com/say. But first, here is the news headlines with Lewis Mackenzie.
Good morning. 2 minutes past 11. Here are your latest GB News headlines. Police have arrested a 28-year-old man on suspicion of murdering former MP Anne Widdecombe. Police say there is no information to say it was politically motivated or linked to terrorism.
Our investigation into the death of 78-year-old Anne Widdecombe has continued to develop over the past 24 hours. Shortly after 9 p.m. on Saturday, the 11th of July, a 28-year-old white British man was arrested at an address in Rotherham, South Yorkshire, on suspicion of the murder of Miss Widdecombe. We were supported by officers from Counter-Terrorism Police North East and South Yorkshire Police who carried out the arrest on behalf of Devon and Cornwall. At this point, there is still no information to suggest that this is a terrorism-related incident, and at this point, we are not looking for anyone else in connection with this murder.
Miss Widdecombe was found dead at her home in Devon on Thursday. Police believe she was killed nearly 24 hours earlier, around midday. Home Secretary Shabana Mahmood will today set out the legal steps she will take to deport the freed ringleader of a Rochdale grooming gang. Shabir Ahmed was jailed for 22 years in 2012 for multiple counts of child sexual offences, including rape. He was released from prison on licence earlier this month. Calls have mounted across the political spectrum for the deportation of Ahmed, who was stripped of his British citizenship following his conviction, leaving him with only Pakistani nationality. Argentina's foreign minister called Falkland Islanders an artificially implanted population. He also said the 2013 referendum held on the archipelago, in which islanders chose to remain British, was illegitimate and called for negotiations over the Falklands' future. He added the 1982 war and the 2013 vote had failed to resolve the Falklands dispute, saying the sovereignty of the archipelago should not be decided by a population artificially implanted by occupying powers. The row over the islands was reinvigorated by members of the Argentine football team who were filmed singing they would win the World Cup for Las Malvinas. England play Argentina on Wednesday night for a place in the final. Some breaking news for you now. Sir Ollie Robbins has launched legal action against the government over his dismissal for his alleged role in the Peter Mandelson scandal. Sir Ollie issued proceedings requesting a judicial review of his sacking as permanent Undersecretary at the Foreign Office and head of the diplomatic service. Sir Keir Starmer dismissed the top civil servant over the Mandelson scandal in April after Number 10 claimed that he had not told the PM that the disgraced peer had failed his vetting for post of ambassador to the US. A major incident has been declared in North Wales as firefighters tackle a series of wildfires. Residents near Conwy Mountain have been evacuated while members of the public were warned to avoid the area. There are also warnings that large parts of the UK are at risk of exceptional fires as the heatwave continues this week. A British woman who was taken to hospital after a wildfire swept through southern Spain has become the 13th person to die in the tragedy. The 93-year-old woman was among 8 people admitted to hospital following the blaze, 4 of them with serious injuries. The Andalusian regional government said the woman, who had pre-existing medical conditions, had been admitted to hospital on Friday morning with burns covering 20% of her body. Authorities have not yet formally identified any of the dead victims. And finally, Jurassic Park star Sam Neill has died at the age of 78. The Northern Ireland-born New Zealand actor was best known for his leading role in the dinosaur blockbuster films The Piano and Peaky Blinders. He appeared in more than 50 films over his career. No cause of death has been given, but Neil recently revealed he was cancer-free after being diagnosed with blood cancer in 2022. Well, those are your latest GB News headlines for now. I'm Lewis Mackenzie. Let's look at your finances.
Going through the ceiling, finding the floor. Stilts Home Lifts sponsors the GB News Finance Report.
And here's a quick snapshot of today's markets. The pound will buy you $1.34 and 1.17 euros. The price of gold is at £3,041 per ounce, and the FTSE 100 is at 10,495 points.
GB News Finance Report, brought to you by Stilts Home Lifts.
Tune in to GB News Radio wherever you are. Online, on DAB digital radio, on TuneIn, on Radio Player, on Nation Player and on your smart speaker. Just say, play GB News.
Hello, good morning and welcome. This is Britain's Newsroom live across the UK on GB News with Andrew Pearce and Bethany Elsey.
So is he going to clobber us for more tax, Andy Burnham? I suspect he will, because a recent analysis by Reform UK projects Andy Burnham will start with a £38 billion tax rate.
Goodness me, specifically on the wealthy as well. The report alleges Burnham will launch the raid to finance a spending spree in office. The move would reportedly increase Labour's taxation from nearly £66 billion to over £100 billion per year.
Well, Catherine Forster is our chief political correspondent. Now, of course, we don't know whether these figures are true, because Andy Burnham's not speaking to the media anytime soon, and he's not Prime Minister until Monday. But Reform have crunched the numbers on what he's talked about doing in the past. I think that's how they've got these figures, Catherine.
Yes, and it looks like a continuing trend, because the OECD have crunched the numbers on tax rises across the 38 richest nations in the last year. And in terms of tax rises on British workers, they are rising faster already here than in any other of those 38 rich countries already. So that's happened
And that's
under
before
Rachel
Burnham even gets in.
Reeves and Sir Keir Starmer, because they had those two huge tax-raising budgets. Now, these figures that Reform have put out are based on things, as you say, that he said in the past he might like to do. So, for example, a potential care levy of up to 10%. Now, I've also heard him say that he would like to scrap inheritance tax, so we just don't know. Reform rates of capital gains tax, that's something that Wes Streeting has suggested, equalise it with income tax. Very difficult to do unless you start to index, people will just hold on to assets. National insurance, putting it on landlords' rental income, that's one suggestion. Of course, all of these would have consequences. He's previously said, too, that he sees a case for putting the top rate of tax up to 50%. Well, he couldn't do that without breaking the manifesto.
No.
Yeah.
But, of course, you know, you never know. There might be a general election. And the tourist tax, which is already being floated. He's also talked about council tax and how it doesn't work. Of course, we haven't had rebanding for a very long time. And some sort of, you know, could they re-look at that? What about stamp duty? So the truth is, he's going to be Prime Minister a week today, elected by 25,000 people in Makerfield. The majority of Labour MPs are very happy because they think that he can take on reform, but nobody really knows what he's going to do. He wants more devolution. He talks about good growth in every postcode. How do you do that? These things take time, and we know we are very, very short of money. We're paying, I think, £1 in every 100 that we spend just goes in 10% goes in just paying interest on the debt, which is over 100 billion.
And if he borrows more, the debt goes up even higher.
Yes, and
that's
also
the other thing you can do. You can borrow more.
Yes, and he has said that within the fiscal rules, which he says he will stick by, there is potentially some room. Now, Lord O'Neill, who was a former Goldman Sachs economist, gave an interview at the weekend. He's advising Andy Burnham, as is Andy Haldane, former chief economist at the Bank of England. And Lord O'Neill said that Andy won't, quote, tax the hell out of you. Want a bookmark, perhaps?
Well, we'll try and hold him to that. Catherine, thank you so much. That's Catherine Forth, who is our chief political correspondent. We're going to talk now to Angela Knight, who was economic secretary to the Treasury in the past. Good morning, Angela. Good morning to you. He's going to raise taxes, isn't he? Whatever happens.
Yes. Unfortunately, I think he is. And it's no good him saying, well, it'll just be for the wealthy. That isn't the case. It'll be quite considerable tax increases, I reckon, across the board. I do think this capital gains tax has probably got legs, that he'll increase that. A lot of people, have a bit of something which results in capital gains tax, so that'll get a lot of people. I think he could do something on this mansion tax as well. There's been a proposal around to drop the starting rate of it, or the point at which it bites, or whatever. And, with all this rumouring going along, with all this looking at his past and what he's supported, to my mind, he needs to actually come out now and say what it is that he's actually going to do or not do. We've had too much damage on the economy over this last 2-3 years, not just with the tax hikes, but with the anticipation that something more is going to come, the uncertainty. There does need to be some certainty in this area. And if he's going to become Prime Minister, which I assume he is in a week or so's time, he should hold Parliament back, and he should have an announcement then on what it is that he's actually proposing.
Because the trouble is the budget won't be due until around November, so that's, nearly 6 months away.
Which is impossible, you see. The speculation will go on, and the speculation's not unreasonable, because self-evidently there are plans to spend money in this direction or that direction. We haven't spoken about defence. We've still got that hole in defence. So when you have got an expectation that something unpleasant is going to happen, you're not going to do anything. You're going to sit on your hands. You're going to wait and see. And in this instance, that doesn't just mean you and me and individuals. It means business. It means investment in the country, inward investment, and so on. So that's why there is, in my view, leadership is about saying what it is that you're proposing to do, explaining how you're doing it, and getting on with it. And hanging around to November and say, I've got to wait till then, I don't think is the right answer at all in this instance.
So I'm no financial expert, but for Andy Burnham to say he wants growth in every postcode, raising taxes seems counterintuitive. And also you mentioned the capital gains increase. Tony Blair's think tank has warned against that, saying it would damage the economy further.
Fascinating, isn't it, about Tony Blair's think tank? Because in some respects it comes out with proposals which are very different from those which he had when he was Prime Minister. But, life moves on. Life moves on. And it is, any tax increase is damaging on something. There is no such thing as a no consequence. And so if you tax them more, whatever it is it national insurance they're proposing on rental income? What will happen? Rents will go up and there'll be a reduction of properties in the market. Put it on capital gains tax, people will not then do what the sensible thing that they need to do with their assets. They'll hang on to them. Put it on national insurance for business, and you see what's happened. The employment, particularly of young people, and the entry-level employment has gone down. If he does really want to do something proper that is good for the country and will help with the growth in every postcode phrase, which is, one of these, no doubt one of his advisors thought that up. It's quite a good phrase. But if he really wants to do that, then he needs to think through something else. He needs to look at welfare and make sure that those who deserve it get it, and those who don't really deserve it go back to work. There is something there big about the potential for growth of getting at least a proportion of that 20% of the working population who's not working back into jobs. It'll require assistance. I don't pretend it's easy, but that welfare budget is manifestly out of control, and more people just sitting at home is wrong for them and wrong for the economy. You could look at improving the health service, not by putting more money in, but by digitalizing, using AI on what is a huge amount of administrative functions that's done in old-fashioned ways, people-heavy ways, cost-heavy ways. There are some things out there that are essential to consider, and just leaving stuff alone and pouring more money into the top, getting it by taxing us more when, as we all know, we're one of the highest tax nations now, and it's just been said, that's not going to do anything other than continue down a path of slow growth, of a static economy, and unfortunately, deindustrialization, which is happening in this country now. We're starting to wave goodbye to some of our big industries, such as petrochemicals, and that's on the back of energy prices, which are unsustainably high.
And Angela, on that, just briefly, the man who's made our energy prices high could be the Chancellor of the Exchequer next week, Ed Miliband.
Don't say it. Please don't say it. Please don't say that. Because when you think about how he has pursued a policy with a fanaticism that has disregarded the consequences, to think of that happening to the economy more broadly, as I say, that is just don't say it. Just don't say it.
All right, we won't say it. That's Angela Knight.
Almost anybody else.
All right.
Who else do we think's in the
Angela,
running for that?
Well, I think it could be Yvette Cooper. I think it could be Pat McFadden. So we'll see. But Angela Knight, always good to talk to you, the former Economic Secretary to the Treasury, Angela Knight. Well, I think Ed Miliband is a fanatic, a net zero fanatic.
Well, clearly there are some within the Labour Party who support him because
he's very experienced.
He's in the job he has.
And he's very clever. But he's wrong.
But with all that talk about raising taxes, I feel like we all need a bit of extra cash. If you fancy some, we have a chance for you to win £60,000 in tax-free cash and a real gold bar worth over 5k. Here's all the details.
We're celebrating a golden summer, as you could win a totally tax-free £60,000 in cash to spend on anything you like. Imagine all of the fun you could have this year with that. You could spend it on treats, save it for a rainy day, or give you the chance to chill out and relax on the perfect getaway. Plus, we're going to give you a £5,000 gold bar that you could keep, trade, or gift to a loved one and secure their financial future. You really could be enjoying gold and £60,000 cash in our golden summer celebration.
For a chance to win £60,000 in tax-free cash and a real gold bar, text GOLD to 63225. One entry costs £2.50 plus one standard network rate message. Or text BONUS to 63225. 5 entries cost £5 plus one standard network rate message. Go to gbnews.com/win. Entries start at £2.50. Call 0903 686 3232. Calls cost £2.50 plus your network access charge. Or post your name and number to GB22 PO Box 8690 Derby DE1 9TT. UK only. Entrance must be 18 or over. Lines close at 4 p.m. on the 21st of August. This is a network giveaway. Entries will be pooled. Please check the closing time if listening or watching on demand. Good luck.
Wouldn't that be nice, eh? Make sure you get involved for your chance to win. Now, still to come on the programme, excitement is building in Northern Ireland as the 12th of July festivities are due to get underway in the next 15 minutes. We'll see parades and bands going up that street in County Down, and our reporter Doogie Beattie will be there for us.
It's quite a spectacle, I've got to tell you, so stay tuned for that. But up next, the Home Office may yet relax immigration reforms when Andy Burnham becomes Prime Minister. Is this the start of open borders, Burnham? We'll be going through that and a lot more with our panel, Thomas Day and Sebastian Sack. There they are. This is Britain's Newsroom on GB News.
From the school run to the home run, watch a new show for all of Britain.
He can say whatever he wants.
A straight talking show where all voices are heard.
And, you know, when are we going to stop talking about smashing the gangs and actually do it?
With the stories that matter from every part of our country.
There's a bit of a crash landing there for your Chancellor.
Bold, fearless and standing up for you. That's me, Martin Daubney, 3 p.m. till 6 p.m, weekdays, here only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Exciting news. Every Friday, my Patrick Christie's Tonight Show is going to have a twist to it. We're welcoming some special guests. You. That's right, on Fridays, I'm going to be doing my show in front of a live studio audience because this show is about you and what you have to say. It's going to be the same big debates, same big topics, same big opinions. But every Friday night at 9 p.m, you are invited to come on down to Patrick Christie's Tonight to be a part of the action. Only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Welcome to Free Speech Nation with me, Josh Howard. This is the show where each week we see what's happening in the world of culture, current affairs and politics.
First of all, say welcome to the UK. Oh, thank you.
And we're not afraid to use our free speech so that you can use yours.
It's not controversial in the slightest to anyone who hasn't lost their mind.
Free Speech Nation, Sunday nights at 7 p.m. Only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
7:24, Britain's Newsroom, live across the UK with Andrew and Bethany.
Now we're joined now by former Conservative advisor Thomas Day and former Labour advisor Seb Salek in the studio. Shall we start with the news of 12-hour-long queues in Kent?
Yes, shall we? So Roger Gale, the local MP, is getting very het up about this. I'm going to jump straight to the quote because it's fantastic. He goes, people will say, oh, Roger Gale is a big alarmist, but it is because Roger Gale is alarmed. I don't want this to happen, he says, which I quite like, him talking about himself in the third person. It feels very PG Woodhouse. But the point is here, you've got a Tory MP who's getting worked up about borders, getting worked up about heat waves. I think he's going woke.
He's going woke.
Well, but this is all to do with the passport control, is it?
Yeah.
Is that what it's about?
That's right, yes. It's about the new EU entry-exit system that's being imposed. Any time a British citizen either crosses a channel or goes into an airport, they will be faced with these new checks. Now, the Port of Dover initially said that the waits would be 12 hours. Actually, when they revised their worst-case scenario planning, they said at most it would be 6 to 8, which is still a huge amount of time.
Horrific.
But we've seen as well, Department for Transport has recently negotiated with France for additional booths at both Dover and Calais. So those are currently being built and staffed. And Brexit contingency planning is coming as well with a dedicated EU lorry lane on the M20. And as well, overflow facilities will come online when these sorts of things happen. So I like Sir Roger very much, but I have a feeling that this is probably for his local paper rather than something that necessarily holidaymakers and travellers need to be worried about.
Well, unless he's just flagging up a warning that we should be aware of.
Well, I mean, it feels more like the good people of Herne Bay and Sandwich are going to have quite a lot of traffic issues, which is a good local MP you should be taking heed of. But look, we knew this was coming. This is a consequence of leaving the single market. So we can't be surprised when suddenly there are difficulties getting our way to France for our holidays. It's just the reality.
He's worried that ambulances are going to be unable to reach medical emergencies because they're going to get caught up in these tailbacks.
Yeah, and I think ambulance waiting times and being able to ensure that emergency services can get through, but that's where, on motorways and so on, that's what you have the hard shoulder for. And I think the Port of Dover has had a long time to think about long queues there, basically since the referendum. And I think what we're hearing from the Department of Transport, the Port of Dover itself, suggests that, well, actually they'll be able to get a handle on this if, of course, they can get the French to play ball with border control checks, which...
I mean, I know these are the rules, but honestly, people will just think to hell with it, so I'm not going to bother going to France. We are a huge market for France. British Tories going to France on holiday, the south of France, they could just say, I can't be bothered, I'll stay here. I'll have a staycation. Well, pretty nice weather.
The beautiful weather. There are a few things there. Staycations are expensive now. They rocketed during COVID, and they're beautiful. I love a UK holiday, but they are not as cheap as they used to be. Also, France, there is an allure, isn't there? We are all Francophiles, I think. We all get drawn to France. And so I think a little bit of bother at the border isn't going to stop us going over and having some gorgeous wine.
Oh, I only ever got the ferry to go to Belgium. Much prefer Belgium.
Belgium?
Yeah, lovely.
I like Bruges.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I'm not keen on Brussels.
Northern France was a stopover, really. But you can also take the Eurotunnel or whatever.
Yeah, I like the train. Anywhere I can go on the train.
Why drive? Take the train or a plane.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I quite
much easier.
All right, panel, thank you so much for that. Now, for the fifth year running, the People's Channel is on the ground in Northern Ireland to mark the anniversary of the Battle of the Boyne. We're going to cross over there now to be with Baroness Foster. There she is. Good morning.
Good morning, Andrew and Bethany, and good morning to everybody, and a very warm welcome to the 12th of July. Yes, it's the 13th, but we celebrate the 12th if it's on a Sunday on the 13th. And we're here in the royal village of Hillsborough. And what a setting we have this morning as families gather for one of the biggest days in Northern Ireland's calendar. Now, for many of us, the 12th is simply something that we grew up with, but this year we want to look a little closer at what we're really passing on and giving to our young people, what they need to understand exactly. And that's what we're all celebrating today. And to help us, I'm delighted to welcome back the Chief Executive of the Ulster Scots Agency, Ian Crozier. Ian, it's lovely to have you with us today. And it's fitting that we're here in Royal Hillsborough because this is the very village which King William III passed through on his way to the Boyne. So Ian, before we enjoy the day, let's start simply. For anybody who hasn't grown up with the 12th of July, what is it really about, and how do we make sure the next generation understands it?
Well, essentially, Arlene, the 12th is about a celebration of family and friendship and freedom. All of the people that you see out here today are coming along here. They've been doing that for generations, whether they're in lodges or bands or just coming out to watch the events. But fundamentally as well, it's also a celebration of freedom, of the Glorious Revolution settlement, which is really the basis of the British Constitution and the rights that we all enjoy right across the UK.
So it's much wider than just Northern Ireland and Ireland?
Oh, very much so. I mean, the events that are being celebrated here are reason to celebrate across these islands and indeed the wider Western world.
And there have been celebrations in Scotland, as we know, over this past 2 weekends, and in Southport as well for the English lodges. But today's the big day. There's 18 demonstrations all across Northern Ireland. And
absolutely.
We're here in Royal Hillsborough, and people often think it's just about a battle that took place a long time ago, but it's not, Ian. Tell us why it's important.
Well, the 12th of July and the anniversary of the Battle of the Boyne's a really good hook to hang it on, but actually it's about the whole of the Glorious Revolution, and actually even in recent years when we saw the new coronation of King Charles, there were echoes right back from the King's coronation right back to things that were happening in 1688, 1690. Those are things that we all take for granted today, but actually the 12th of July is a really good time for all of us to have a look back and actually cherish the rights and freedoms that we all enjoy.
And today here in Royal Hillsborough will be a celebration. It'll be about sharing our identity, our heritage, our culture, and it's wonderful to see so many young people around today, isn't it, Ian?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you'll see hundreds, if not thousands, of young people out enjoying the event today, taking part, whether they're in bands, whether they're in junior lodges. There's been a real growth and involvement among young people in recent years, and that's going from strength to strength. It's something that's really good to see.
It is really good to see, because this isn't just about what's happening here in Northern Ireland. In the years after the Boyne, thousands of Ulster families crossed the Atlantic, went to what became the United States of America. And without getting lost in the detail, because there's really a whole story of our series, what did that generation go on to do in America?
Well, of course, when we talk about the Boyne, we talk about civil and religious liberty for all, but actually it only lasted for a short time. So actually the Ulster Scots and the people who were here started to see the government kind of rolling back from the rights that King William had brought, and that drove them to go across to America. So actually it wasn't all sweetness and light after 1690. They went across to the States, and then in due course their descendants found that similar things were happening. The government started to roll back on their rights in America as well. And of course, whenever that happened, then the Ulster Scots, the people who'd come from here, were among the first to say, well, hold on, up with this we will not put.
Yes.
And they were in the vanguard then of people who in due course fought for American independence. They didn't start off wanting independence, but they ended up feeling that that was the only route that was left to them.
Yeah. And that connects something which happened, as you rightly said, 250 years ago. And of course, Americans across the world are celebrating the Declaration of Independence. And there were very strong Ulster roots in that Declaration of Independence, isn't that right?
Very much so, very much so. I mean, people who were founding fathers of the United States, who were signers of the Declaration, the people who were the philosophers behind the push for liberty and freedom, very much that came with an Ulster stamp on it, and actually also very much connection to Royal Hillsborough, where we are today, because in fact in the late 18th century, Benjamin Franklin actually came here, met Wills Hill, so the man who gave the family who gave Hillsborough its name, he was actually the colonial secretary in the British government
and a very
London.
Important gentleman at that time.
Yeah, very much so. And actually it was the bad relationship that he had with Benjamin Franklin played a huge part in the decision of Franklin to push eventually for American independence.
Oh dear. So
Yes.
we helped break the link with the British Crown. But you can watch all of this story, and please start with Architects of America. It's on GB News Originals now. Episode 2, Rebellion to Revolution, is available today. I'd really encourage you to watch it. And do start with the first, Foundations of Freedom. It follows the story of the Great Migration across the Atlantic right after the and you'll find both of those on the GB News website and GB News Originals. But before the parade reaches us here in Royal Hillsborough, it's starting at the bottom of the town and coming up here along the beautiful streets, I want to come back to where we began, because for all of the history, today is really about one thing, and that's passing it on to the next generation. It's then where you look along those footpaths, grandparents, grandchildren, side by side. It's a tradition that's handed on lovingly from one generation to the next. And Ian, that's the heart of it for us this year. If there's one thing you'd want to tell a young person to take from all of the pageantry that they'll see around them today, what would that be?
What you see today is very much part of who we are, part of who we are as a community. The Ulster Scots community are a freedom and liberty loving people, and actually the events that we celebrate today is the bedrock of the liberty we have sought throughout the last 400 years. So we fought for liberty here in Ulster, we fought for liberty in America, and that has been very much at the core of who we are as a community, and what we've also brought to these islands, because the people of the United Kingdom and further afield, the traditions of freedom and democracy, constitutional monarchy, freedom of the press and so on, have their roots in the things that were happening here in the 17th century.
Yeah, and we're going to see a huge display of pageantry today with the lodges and different types of bands. I think we have accordion bands, silver bands, we've even a few pipe bands as well, and of course a lot of flute bands. We always talk about the fact that we do have this range of bands that take part in the parades.
Absolutely. I think there would be easily 30,000 musicians on parade today across Northern Ireland. The marching bands that are associated with these parades and Orange culture and Ulster Scots culture, it's the largest single cultural outlet in Northern Ireland, particularly for young people. And that's often not recognised.
I don't think it is recognised, Ian, because a lot of people don't realise that all of that tuition which is given to those young people when they join the bands is free. And they're learning a musical instrument for free. And that's the benefit of being part of a band and learning about their culture and history.
Absolutely. And actually, when you think of it, you learn a musical instrument in school, but you might start learning a recorder.
We've all been there.
How many 65-year-olds have you seen playing a recorder?
Yes.
But actually, if you learn the flute or you learn the drum, you learn the bagpipes in school, there's every possibility in Northern Ireland you'll be playing those instruments right through until you're in your old age.
Yeah.
It's real.
And for those who haven't been brought up in the Orange tradition, what does it feel like to be a part of the Loyal Institution? What's it about? And what does it mean to you as a person to be a part of that? Because you're part of a private lodge.
Absolutely. I mean, it's about being part of something. I mean, it is for many people, it is a family thing. So there's a reason why the best known Orange song is The Sash My Father Wore.
Yeah.
My father's in the Orange as well.
Yes.
So you know, that's a big part of it. Most people who join it don't join it because there's some overarching political aspiration or something at the back of it. You join it for family and community, and then hopefully as you go along you learn much more about the underlying philosophy and the story that's behind it.
Yeah. And I've noticed over this past number of years that the Orange Lodges and the different districts have done an awful lot of fundraising and charity endeavour as well, and that's something that has been marked out now for a lot of Orange institutions, hasn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, being an Orange man is about being part of the community that you live in and supporting other people. So yes, supporting your fellow Orange men and your own community, but it's also about supporting other people as well. And people who are involved in the Orange Order, yes, they'll be involved in bands, but they'll be involved in their church, they'll be involved as governors of local schools, they'll be involved in the community in a whole myriad of ways. And actually, when we had COVID, you had Orange Lodges out delivering food and relief to pensioners and people who were stuck at home and so on as well.
So to bring it back here to Royal Hillsborough, I understand that the local district here have raised around £40,000 for Cancer Connect over this past number of years. So that's just an indication of the sort of thing that goes on. And I'm sure today and across Northern Ireland there'll be charity collections happening right across those parades.
Absolutely, there will. I mean, the Hillsborough here was a tremendous effort, but you'll find stories like that all over Northern Ireland.
Yeah, and I think it's something that's not really spoken about. Also today, we will be talking about when the bands comes and the lodges comes behind them. All of the lodges will have their own individual numbers on, so you'll see LOL 130, which I think is leading the parade here today, right up to numbers in LOL 1020 and all of that sort of thing. What is the significance, if you can share with our viewers, of those numbers on those lodges?
So basically what the number is, that's the number of the individual warrant. So every Orange Lodge operates under a warrant. That's your written authority from the Grand Lodge. The lower the number, the earlier the warrant was issued.
Yes.
So in County Armagh, at the Diamond, you have LOL number 1.
Yeah.
But that goes right the way through across the country. There are lots of lodges that are on parade here today that were formed around the 1790s. And actually, one of the things that I think that coincides with is a big boost in the number of military warrants that were issued. So there have been a lot of orange warrants issued within militia formations and also regiments within the army. And I think the reason you get a big clustering around 1798, it was around the time of the 1798 rebellion.
Yes, of course.
And a lot of orange lodges were then forming the backbone of the local yeomanry.
Yes.
So ironically, of course, you have lots of Ulster Scots on parade with the orange today, but in 1798 the orange was very much on the side of the government and I suppose the established church, fighting against the Presbyterians. So it shows you how over time lots of things have changed and nothing stays the same.
Nothing stays the same indeed. And we understand that the bands are going to be with us in about 10 minutes time, so we're waiting. Everything happens in its own time at these parades. Yes. So we have to wait for all of that. But talking about the lodges, a lot of the lodges on parade today, as well as having links right back to 1795, 1798, a lot of the lodges here today have family connections with some of the big gentry families that would have been around at the time. So I think the second lodge on parade today is the Arthur Hill Memorial Lodge.
That's right.
So that being the case, is that something unusual to hear, or is that something that happened right across Ireland?
No, I mean, it's not unusual because obviously, bear in mind, if you think of something like Downton Abbey, the big house family was a family within a community that everybody depended upon, whether the folks were working on the estate or maybe for support for your schools or whatever it was. So actually those folks very often played a big role within the community. The Hill family have been in Hillsborough for many centuries. They came over originally from the southwest of England, but that particular chap was the Member of Parliament for this area as well. So you would find that the people in the big house would also play a political role as well as a community role, and people would look up to them.
Yeah, and people would look up to them, and then those lodges probably would have had one of the family members as lodge officers in the past, and that's why they're remembered on their banners. One of the other, and I was at a beautiful service last night in Auchnacloy, a district service in Auchnacloy, where we were unveiling a new banneret in memory of those who have been murdered during the Troubles in Northern Ireland. And that's something as well. A lot of Orange men were murdered by the IRA during the Troubles, and that's something now you see on bannerets across Northern Ireland, isn't it?
I mean, Orange men killed during the Troubles, and it's not unusual at all to find Orange halls that have memorials to people who were killed, for them to feature on banners or feature on drums, because actually, Orange, the Orange culture and community is meant as much to those people, and very often people who are involved in the Orange. I talked about the community involvement. There was a time when the community involvement joining the security forces as well.
And standing up for your community and keeping us safe.
Absolutely.
Well, thank you very much, Ian, and we'll come back to Ian and myself later on, but for the minute we're going back to Andrew and Bethany in the studio.
We're talking about a huge blaze in North Wales which has been declared a major incident as that heatwave has sparked high-risk zones in Britain.
This is Britain's Newsroom on GB News.
You're looking happy.
Well, the forecast looks good.
So you've sorted the travel insurance then?
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GB News Travel Destinations Forecast.
Hello there. The heatwave continues across much of Europe. Central and southern parts of France in particular could see temperatures in the low to mid-40s. Along with the high temperatures, lots of dry, sunny weather to continue across many areas, though the humidity could be enough to spark off some thunderstorms across northern parts of Italy, Austria, Slovenia, potentially parts of Croatia as well. The sunshine continues this week alongside the hot temperatures, widely in the high 30s to low 40s.
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GB News Travel Destinations Forecast.
This is GB News, Britain's news channel.
But what message would you just like to say? Because this one's voted for by the public.
Yes.
And it's all down to the viewers. What message have you got for those guys?
Well, we've got the best viewers in the world, haven't we? The most loyal viewers, the best viewers. And, of course, they've supported Breakfast for so many years with Ellie and all the other members of Breakfast. And, you know, we can't do it without them.
Yeah, I think we are unique, GB News, in the way that our viewers are really central to everything that we do. So, you know, with our GB Views at gbnews.com, we're always reading off the comments. We have viewers on all the time to talk to us about our stories. I think we are the only place that actually has our viewers front and centre. So it's so nice to have something back in a Trick Award when they recognise, you know, the hard work that we try and do every single year. So please God, 4 years on the trot would be great, wouldn't it?
GB News, the People's Channel. This is GB News, Britain's news channel.
Now wearing a Pegasus necklace badge commemorating the airborne forces. This week, 76 years ago, started the Korean War, often known as the Forgotten War. This is an opportunity for remembrance as well, isn't it?
That's right. In remembering with all of the conflicts, you know, it's affected every single person here who is in uniform. But it doesn't just stop there. Once they do get to the end of their service, they're often felt like they're forgotten about. So a big part of it is about remembering those that have fallen, but also those that are still alive and that are still with their own struggles. I wouldn't be able to do the job that I do now. I lead international expeditions and have done for the last 30 years. And the majority of those skills and that skill set and why I get asked back come directly from my time in the service, my time in the Royal Marines.
GB News, the People's Channel. This is GB News, Britain's news channel.
GB News Breakfast has won the Trick Awards for the 4th year on the trot. I'm here with Alex Armstrong and Diamond and Ellie Costello. Guys, congratulations. Ellie, how does it feel?
Just incredible. I was really hoping we could do it 4 years on the bounce, but you can't take these things for granted, can you? And I did think maybe they'll want to give it to someone else this year, and I really, really wanted us to win, because Anne is here from her cruise.
Brilliant, yeah.
And Anne, your acceptance speech was amazing. You reflected on your years in the industry. How much does this mean?
I was able to hold one of these was 40 years ago, 1986, for the same sort of breakfast television programme that they said would never catch on.
There you go.
Full circle moment.
And what message have you got for GB News viewers? Because obviously this is voted for by the public.
Oh, it's thanks. I mean, it's real thanks, because that's why this award is so important.
GB News, the People's Channel.
Welcome back to Britain's Newsroom. It's 13 minutes to midday. A major incident was declared in North Wales as firefighters tackled a series of wildfires there. There's also warnings that large parts of the UK are at risk of exceptional fires as the heatwave continues this week.
Let's talk to John Grant, who is a senior lecturer in sustainable construction and climate change, and no stranger to him. John, good morning to you. Are you going to tell us these fires are as a direct result of climate change?
think climate change has made them considerably worse, but there's been some real idiots out there, hasn't there?
What you think would have been irresponsible?
Barbecues and fireworks, setting them off. I mean, there's not much you can do about that other than some training and everything. But the ground being sufficiently dry and the plants, ultimately, a lot of them are just dead because they've been dried out. They're just creating a perfect environment for this conflagration, aren't they? It's just.
But we had such a wet spring.
I know. If only we could have captured that moisture in some. I've been talking to some farmers, and they were saying that it's really challenging for them to get permission to dig a hole in their land to store this rainwater, because weirdly the UK probably doesn't have a change in how much rain it's getting over the year. It's just coming in much harder, shorter bursts, and if we're going to need to manage that so that we can make the most of it. So we do have the opportunity, but the easy life that we had 30 years ago is gone.
Well, and when did we last build a major reservoir, John?
Oh, what a great question. Since pretty much it went privatised, I believe. I'm not a specialist in the water area, but I think Carsington Water, just nearby where I'm currently talking to you from, was the last major reservoir. But I think what we've got to do now, because we don't have time to build huge reservoirs, is to try and build maybe thousands of small sort of ponds that will offset the heavy rain that you quite rightly pointed out in our winters, but also act as a bit of a reserve so that we can fight these fires when they break out. I was just talking to somebody and they were saying, even on our uplands, we could create little ponds that could be used, because at the moment, the fire brigades are being forced to empty out little ponds and then killing all the biosphere, all the frogs and plants. And I know when you've got that against people's lives and homes, you're going to empty the pond, yeah? But that shouldn't be a choice, to have a wildlife pond being emptied to put a fire out.
Yeah, I mean, I'm old enough to remember the heatwave in 1976, John, but I don't remember these sort of fires.
No, I think everything has kind of changed, and although the heatwave in 76 was there, it's the consistency of the dryness. I think even in 76, when it was really warm for quite a long time, we did have proper British weather when it rained every sort of 2 weeks or so for a little bit. Honestly, I can't remember more than a drizzle. I don't know, you might be able to, but I can't remember more than a drizzle since May, April time, when it was awful, wasn't it? Wasn't it 40 days? Didn't we have rain every day for like 40? Because people were saying this is biblical, mate. It was, and now to be in a situation where it's so dry that we're losing lives. What was it? 400 a night during the heat wave, estimates are. People, older people, vulnerable people, we're losing on top of these fires. If this isn't an emergency, I don't know what is.
All right, John, well, thank you for that. That's John Grant, who is a senior lecturer in sustainable construction and climate change. And people just have to be so careful with matches.
Yeah, I don't think I realised barbecues, fireworks, matches, cigarettes could be so dangerous. But, they're urging people to be careful.
Now, the People's Channel is on the ground in Northern Ireland to mark the anniversary of the Battle of the Boyne. And there she is. There's our very own Arlene Foster. Arlene, morning again.
Good morning, Andrew. Thanks for telling us all about that climate change story, because it is quite warm here today in Royal Hillsborough, but we have a nice breeze behind us, and I'm delighted to be joined by Ian Crozier, who's the Chief Executive of the Ulster Scots Agency, exploring a little bit about the story behind the Orange Institution, explaining about the different parts of it. And the first bands are making their way into Royal Hillsborough at the bottom of the street at the moment, and they'll be with us shortly. But when they get to the field, the demonstration field, Ian, what happens then?
Well, basically everybody gets into the field, they'll assemble in their districts and so on, and actually then there'll be speeches, and just as you would have in any other political event, there'll be a number of speeches from the platform. In truth, most of the people who go into the field won't really be listening to the speeches. They'll be heading off for their lunch, or they'll be heading off for the first place that they can get a burger or a soft drink after they've had bit of a walk in the sun.
Because this is quite a hilly village, isn't it? And so they'll have to walk up that hill in Hillsborough.
It is unbelievably, from the hill we're sitting on, you can actually see Belfast.
Yes.
Which is normally driving through Hillsborough, so that's the first time I've really noticed a great view from it.
Yeah.
So I think by the time they get to this hill, they'll be looking for a soft drink or maybe an oxygen tank.
And so in the demonstration field, there's usually a platform party. There'll be religious speakers, there'll be a religious service. There's always usually a senior member of the institution, and here it's the past Grand Master and the current Imperial Grand Master, most worshipful brother Edward Stevenson. And can you tell us what the difference is between Grand Master of Ireland and Imperial Grand Master?
So, there are multiple jurisdictions within the Orange Order because it's actually a global organisation.
Yes, and I think most people don't understand that, Ian.
Yeah,
it's important to say that.
I mean, there is a Grand Lodge in Ireland,
yes,
in England, in Scotland as well, but there are also overseas jurisdictions in Canada, in America, in Australia, and New Zealand, even in a number of jurisdictions in Africa as well, in Togo and other places.
Yeah.
So actually there are 3 yearly what are called triennial councils where the senior members of the different jurisdictions around the world come together, and the person who presides at that is the Imperial Grand Master, so that's the office that Edward Stevenson holds now.
Yes, and as I said, he was the Grand Master. The Grand Master himself is in Rathryland today, most worshipful brother Harold Henning, and in Belfast they have the honour of hosting the Grand Master of the English Order.
Yes.
Yeah. So
and I mean there are good lodges, a good number of lodges in England, and actually a growing number of lodges in England right throughout the country, up in the north, down on the south coast as well.
Very good. And we'll also see, and I think even here in Royal Hillsborough, we have some visiting bands from Scotland, because in Scotland they have a great tradition of flute bands as well, don't they?
Yes, absolutely. I mean, there are many lodges and bands in Scotland. They have had their Battle of the Boyne celebrations a few days ago, and then huge numbers of them then traditionally come across to Ulster for demonstrations here.
Yeah, it's a great celebration for them. And the largest parade today, where will that be?
Well, that's always a big debate. So the parade with the largest number of spectators probably is Belfast, if you include everybody. If you look for the one that has the largest number of lodges, probably County Armagh, which is in Newton Hamilton today.
So as you can see, the crowds are really building here in Royal Hillsborough. We're all waiting in anticipation for the bands and the lodges to arrive. I can hear some young people behind me with their own drums who are making some noise, and that always happens, doesn't it?
Start them young.
Yeah, it always happens. There they go. I always remember my own children when they went to the 12th of July drums, and then after a couple of days you really regretted that, Ian.
Well, absolutely.
Yeah.
But then your own children then went on to do it with great proficiency, didn't they?
They did, to be fair, and we're all in bands themselves. So it's about away apparently from the bands being with us here where we're situated, so I'm going to hand back to Andrew and Bethany.
Looks great, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does. I wish we were there.
Yeah.
Nice little street party to see the parade. We'll, of course, bring you the latest on that throughout the shows on GB News. But that's it from Britain's Newsroom for now. Up next is Good Afternoon Britain with Tom and Emily.
See you tomorrow.
Yes, of course, more coverage to come of the glorious 12th, but also, is Andy Burnham planning an enormous tax bombshell? He becomes Prime Minister 1 week from today.
And has Shabana Mahmood finally found a way to get Shabir Ahmed, the grooming gang leader, deported back to Pakistan?
All that's to come on Good Afternoon Britain after your very latest weather forecast. We'll see you after this.
It's a great British giveaway Golden Summer Celebration. Your chance to win 2 fantastic prizes. There's an incredible £60,000 in tax-free cash. Plus, you'll also get your hands on a fine gold bar worth over £5,000. For a chance to win £60,000 in tax-free cash and a real gold bar, text GOLD to 63225. One entry costs £2.50 plus one standard network rate message, or text BONUS to 63225. 5 entries cost £5 plus 1 standard network rate message. Go to gbnews.com/win. Entry start at £2.50. Call 0903 686 3232. Calls cost £2.50 plus your network access charge. Or post your name and number to GB22 PO Box 8690 Derby DE1 9TT. UK only. Entrance must be 18 or over. Lines close at 4 p.m. on the 21st of August. This is a network giveaway. Entries will be pulled. Please check the closing time if listening or watching on demand.
Join me, Nana Akwe, for an informative, interactive news programme with a difference. It's fun.
No, he didn't say that, Dave.
I'm so surprised.
I think there's an element of truth to that.
Join me from 3 p.m. every weekend, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
Hi, I'm Michelle Dewberry, and my show is your opportunity to cut through all the noise and dive in headfirst to some robust debates. Ideas clash.
Situation,
no,
isn't it?
No.